All right, I think we are live on YouTube now on the severe thunderstorm situation developing across northeastern New South Wales that is eventually going to go into southeastern Queensland and cause all sorts of squally thunderstorm problems down there, or down in southeastern Queensland, north of where these thunderstorms are right now. This is an ongoing situation, an ongoing threat, and definitely one that we're going to be monitoring for quite a number of hours. So sit back, enjoy, and if you've got any questions or comments, send them through into the live chat, and I'll do my best to answer them as quick as I can. If you are brand new to my channel, please do consider subscribing and also leave a like on the stream whilst you're at it. All the support is much appreciated. And there we go, we have everything up and running as good stuff. Welcome to everybody that is joining us right now. We are tracking a developing cluster of thunderstorms, including a couple of potentially severe, maybe even dangerous ones around the Warwick and the Clifton area through southeast Queensland. And we've also got some pretty strong, gnarly thunderstorms beginning to develop as well through parts of the northeast of New South Wales. Definitely going to be watching those locations very closely over the next couple of hours. Now, we are all set up here. I'm using a different computer and a different stream, so if you have any feedback, then please do give it into the chat. I've got a couple of our moderators in as well, so keep things respectful. Let's switch things over to the Brisbane radar and have a look at what we're going to be looking at here. Already, it is a pretty potent picture. A lot of our bigger colours, reds, purples, pinks, it is beginning to all come together now. We've got that squall line now really beginning to develop. It looks like conditions are about to deteriorate quite quickly over the next couple of hours. Good afternoon, good evening to everybody joining us around the nation. So, if you've got any questions, leave them in the chat. But things really beginning to develop, and there are a couple of thunderstorms that we need to be watching quite closely. In particular, one just outside of Warwick. In fact, it's just outside of Millmerran right now. Let's zoom right in on this thunderstorm here. This is our big cell right now, Millmerran. It is a supercell thunderstorm. It's got a little bit of rotation in it as well. And we've got some decibel readings coming back at about 70 to 75. Very high indeed, and likely producing some large hailstones right now, moving into the Leyburn area. Clifton, Allora, put the cars away, cars inside now. This also goes for East Greenmount, up to Cambodia, just south of Toowoomba, Allora, down towards Warwick and Yangon. There are some good thunderstorms now in the vicinity of these locations, but very much areas that I want to be watching quite closely over the next couple of hours. Good thunderstorms as well down around the Bonnelbo area. We've got a cluster of healthy cells now pushing up towards the north. We've also got a good thunderstorm here just outside of Toomala, and that's heading up towards the northeast as well. We're going to be watching this one very closely as well. What we're going to be seeing is all of these thunderstorms join up into a squall line, which is a big long line, a big long stretch of thunderstorms, essentially, and that's going to roll into southeast Queensland. First, the Scenic Rim, the Granite Belt, and the Darling Downs, which are beginning to be impacted right now, and then eventually, in a couple of hours, the Gold Coast, Ipswich, Logan, and Brisbane. It's 7 o'clock right now. My best guess is about 9 o'clock these thunderstorms are going to roll on through. Let's see if we can get this stream shared off. Definitely some healthy thunderstorms now beginning to develop, really coming together at this point in time. So it's good to see these thunderstorms have developed as forecast. It gives us confidence in the forecast. But the fact that they are quite strong, in fact substantially stronger than what we were expecting for today, it is a little bit of a concern, and definitely something we're going to have to be watching over the next couple of hours quite closely. Alright, let's have a look. Hailstorm in Millmerran. Yep, we have a good storm here, and this is the one that I've circled. Also a couple of good hailers around the Millmerran and the Leyburn area. A bit of hail just towards the south of Warwick. That's moving up towards the northeast. That will get Mugera shortly. And definitely expecting a couple of strong thunderstorms to move into the Scenic Rim sometime in the next hour or so. Just sharing off that stream to the Facebook page. If you haven't already, go and check out the Facebook page as well. There is a link in the description of this stream. We've got a couple of good thunderstorms developing around the Lismore area as well. In fact, they're really getting their act together right now. And that was a hazard that we were watching throughout the course of today, was these thunderstorms being of the high precipitation variety. And that most certainly is coming into fruition right now. If we go and check out our radar imagery right now and really zoom in on the northeast of New South Wales, you can see there are some pretty significant rainfall accumulations beginning to develop here. Now, of course, as we know, we take these numbers on the screen right now, the millimetre per hour, with a hefty pinch of salt. We really only like looking at the decibel readings for severe thunderstorms, which is what we've got here. But for now, this will cut the mustard. We are looking at some pretty intense rainfall accumulations around the Bonnelbo area. We knew areas just towards the west of Lismore rather, were going to get some pretty significant rainfall accumulations. That most certainly is beginning to develop right now, so good to see that that's coming through on the forecast, but we are going to be looking at some particularly heavy rainfall accumulations in the next hour or so, kind of between these areas here. So that includes Kyogle, Wollongong, and then eventually off towards Rathdowney and the Springbrook National Park as well. Lismore is copping it. Yeah, there's a good cell just towards the west of Lismore right now that's gone through. Lots and lots of lightning as well. That's a feature with a lot of these thunderstorms, is they are very lightning dominant, particularly our ones in New South Wales right now that are pushing up towards the north. They have a lot of lightning in them. And we've been saying this for the last couple of days, but we're expecting a pretty impressive lightning show throughout New South Wales' northeast and then through southeast Queensland, including the Scenic Rim. And anyone in Brisbane, look south. I mean, it's going to be rather impressive later tonight with these storms that are going to be pushing through. In fact, do we have webcam footage right now? Ooh, this is from Lismore. Just the thumbnail of this looking very green right now. Look at that. That's a very green sky here at Lismore. That is a hail cloud, that's for sure. So some pretty significant hail in this thunderstorm here, and that's just outside of Lismore. So we're either talking about very heavy rainfall or a substantial amount of hail, and I believe the latter is true from this one. There is definitely some good hail in this Lismore cell, so that is one that we're going to have to watch. And Millmerran, like we said, we've been watching this one like a hawk over the last couple of minutes. This one's got some pretty intense precipitation readings in it as well, 72-ish decibels. And that will have some decent hail in it right now. But all in all, pretty healthy stuff. I mean, these thunderstorms have really kicked themselves up quite significantly. Gold Coast, we're looking at storms in the next, I'm going to say 45 minutes, but probably closer to an hour. We're definitely looking at some strong storms into the Gold Coast hinterland, though, as expected. And it is a very stormy picture. Roma has copped it so far this storm season. And yeah, it looks like that's going to continue to really roll through the Roma area. Redcliffe, they're likely to be a lot weaker by the time we get later towards tonight when they move through Redcliffe. So definitely of the weaker variety, but upscaled. So when we're talking about upscaled severe thunderstorms, it's where our initial pulse thunderstorms or supercell thunderstorms, which are spread out like this. You can think of each circle as being a thunderstorm, expands to join up with the thunderstorm next to it, and then expands into one big great line of thunderstorms. Of course, you've got more intense precipitation in little pockets of these thunderstorms in some of the stronger cells with that squall line, which is a big cell basically. Lots and lots of lightning, but this is our upscaled thunderstorm here, which is a little bit weaker, and this is what we're going to be watching over the next hour or so, is these thunderstorms beginning to upscale significantly. Yeah, cars inside northeast New South Wales, doesn't matter where you are. It could be Murray-Willumbah, could be Byron Bay, Wollongong, even out towards Stanthorpe. Put the car away right now. There is some hail in these thunderstorms and likely some large hailstones as well. Actually, if we have a look at our severe thunderstorm warning right now, we've got this one for Millmerran, and this is for large hailstones and damaging winds. That's another factor of these thunderstorms, is they are wind dominant as well. There's a lot of wind in these thunderstorms. They've got some very strong wind gusts, so we need to be watching this one quite closely, or these thunderstorms quite closely, for the wind threat. Now, currently that severe thunderstorm warning is only for the northeast of New South Wales, not quite up to the border, but we have had some pretty decent wind gusts out of these storms so far, and considering the fact that high cloud coverage really hampered things this morning, to see a 107 km/h wind gust at Tamworth is pretty impressive. So it goes to show these thunderstorms, they're not messing around, they are not playing around by any stretch of the imagination. They are packing a punch, they mean business. Couple of good storms still around the Millmerran and the Warwick area. Like I said, Clifton, Elora, Warwick, Car away now. I think Warwick's going to thread the needle between these storms. But I don't think we're going to be so lucky for locations around Clifton and Elora. I think we're going to be seeing some good thunderstorms there. Ipswich probably closer to 9 p.m, yeah. What's the conditions like in the northeast of New South Wales? We're talking strong wind gusts. I definitely think we're going to be talking about some strong wind gusts pretty soon. These thunderstorms they're pretty windy. So if we're seeing some strong wind gusts, let us know. Lots and lots of lightning. I mean, these thunderstorms are non-stop on the lightning side of things. And you can see they've really upscaled and really dramatically upscaled, and they're producing a lot more widespread thunderstorm activity. A little bit weaker, but all things considered, but they have upscaled, and there's a lot of rainfall, a lot of juice in these thunderstorms, that's for sure. I think Australia's got like 30 runs left to catch on the test, so they should do it by the time the day's play is over. And to be honest, the day's play will be over before these thunderstorms come through, because I think for Brisbane, these thunderstorms, or I believe for Brisbane, these thunderstorms at the earliest will arrive closer to 9:30, 10 o'clock-ish, if they even make it up towards Brisbane. They should do, just considering the fact that these storms have really matured, and we're seeing this big line begin to develop now, kind of along this black line, and it's all coming together right now. I definitely think that these storms are going to make it in towards Brisbane. It could be quite a stormy night around the Brisbane area. Ballina, I believe, small hail in the vicinity. I don't think there's anything too crazy. All of northeastern New South Wales is small hail risk right now. I believe they've got it warned for large hailstones. For the most part, the rainfall risk appears to be the most significant right now. And the rainfall risk is at its most significant kind of in this corridor here, just towards the west of Lismore. This Bonnelbo cell, which is now beginning to be pushed up towards the northeast, is packing a substantial amount of rainfall within it, a very substantial amount of rainfall within it. So this is going to be a storm to watch on the rainfall side of things. In terms of how much rainfall we've already seen, if we go to the New South Wales rainfall and river conditions observations, nothing jumping out at me just yet. There's no flooding, obviously, but our most significant rainfall accumulations have been around the Coffs Harbour and Kempsey area. 29 millimetres, 26, 25, 25. So yeah, 29 millimetres so far is our most significant. Really not that much. Yeah, our dew points for these thunderstorms have been excellent. This is that's a great question, actually. It's important that we take a look at our dew points. Very important for a thunderstorm forecast. Now, I do my colours in a way that people can simply understand them. This is a custom colour palette over on windy.com. So I'm just going to tell you the colours, and then I'll explain the temperatures briefly. So orange is dew points, getting up there towards thunderstorm thresholds, but not quite there. It's not really that healthy. Red is solid thunderstorm potential. It's what we call borderline juicy dew points. The purples, which you can see in a very isolated pocket here just outside of Urbanville, is where we're talking about juicy dew points. So we see severe thunderstorms in these sort of things. And then on this colour scale, getting up towards black is extremely favourable. And there's no black today, so we're not talking about extremely favourable dew points for these thunderstorms. Anything above 22 degrees can get the job done for severe thunderstorms. Haul bags in a caravan with kids. Thank you very much for your kind words. Whereabouts are you caravanning? I've had a few people let me know that they're caravanning around the Yamba and the Grafton and Coffs Harbour area, so it's good that they missed out on the worst of the thunderstorms today. To smash a sunroof, you're probably looking at 5 centimetre hailstones, and there's none of that worn through northeast New South Wales or southeast Queensland, so really not a major concern right now. Not something I'm worried about. So it definitely looks like we're going to see a bit of a slot in this area here, unless these thunderstorms can kind of join up on this line here, which is not looking too likely right now. Still, definitely a feature that we want to be watching. But this may save Logan City from seeing significant thunderstorms later today, or later tonight, I should say. A couple of good thunderstorms as well out in towards central Queensland, particularly around the Roma area. There's some healthy stuff developing out there. I don't think Bribie Island is in for much. If Bribie Island does get thunderstorms, mostly non-severe, I would say. Or I reckon non-severe. Definitely no severe risk up at Caboolture or Bribie Island. And the severe risk in Brisbane is very minimal as well, so not really something I'd be worried about. Whew, this Lismore cell's throwing down a bit of hail now. Actually, let's pause this on the latest frame. That's really developed, and this is quite a concern as we head in towards this being a southeast Queensland threat. The fact that these thunderstorms are continuing to develop. We've got a couple of cells here that likely have some pretty significant hail, and we just looked at the Lismore cell over on the webcam, and that was a green sky. That was a concern in itself. Ooh, hang on. We've got a decent dry rotation slot in here. So these thunderstorms, I mean, as we know, are spinning and rotating around, but there's a couple of areas of rotation that are pretty suspect right now. And we may be talking about some strong mesocyclone activity, which could be producing microbursts, which just elevates our rainfall risk right now. 4 areas of rotation that I've noted, all of them have very high precipitation around them, or very heavy precipitation around them. Bottlebow, just north of Capeen, around or just towards the north of Lismore, and just outside of Lismore as well. So Lismore likely to be smashed once again shortly. And then, yeah, just towards the north of Lismore as well as this thunderstorm moves up towards the Tuntable Falls, I believe. A microburst is a concentrated area of extremely heavy precipitation. So think of a downpour and then inject it with steroids. That's what a microburst is, because you get the strong winds with it. It's really nasty stuff, and it can cause some pretty significant damage. But yeah, these are definitely areas that I want to be watching quite closely. And we've still got that significant rotation. That's a mesocyclone / microburst. Very, very heavy rainfall occurring just towards the northeast of Lismore, around Dunoon. And this appears to be heading up towards Crabbles Creek, probably closer to Brunswick Heads. And locations inland and adjacent from Brunswick Heads, it's very important that you remain vigilant now. Keep close tabs on the radar imagery, and I'd recommend hunkering down. I'd go straight to hunkering down right now, because that is some serious precipitation coming through. And even here, which is about to move into the border ranges, this has got a bit of bite as well. We've got a good cell here just outside of Wollongong that's moving up towards the northeast. That will throw Rathdowney in its path, and areas around Rathdowney could be in for a pretty significant hit shortly. Yeah, this is quite concerning. The cluster of storms that we've got right now through northeastern New South Wales is really quite concerning. Oh my, have a look at this storm here. Hang on a second. If we go back to our reflectivity here. Oh, that was just blank. We have some serious precipitation rates here just outside of Leyburn. Leyburn, you need to be inside right now. Cars inside, everything away, hunker down in your safe spot. 75 decibels and some pretty significant rotation on this one. This is a big time hailstorm coming through, and that's going to go straight into Leyburn. Just outside of Elora and Clifton. It will likely pass just north of Leyburn, but we'll be talking about some big hailstones here. But at least 4 centimetres. We're probably getting closer to 6 centimetres. Cars inside, wind gusts could be approaching 125 kilometres an hour in this storm as well. Significant precipitation, getting close to, microburst type precipitation. So we could be talking about 50 millimetres coming down in 20 minutes. That would be very significant. We need to keep close tabs on this Leyburn situation. Very important we keep close tabs on the Leyburn situation. Good storm activity through northeast New South Wales. Let's not lose sight of this. But the fact that we're seeing some of the strongest thunderstorms and some of the biggest reflectivity readings that I have seen in quite some time through southeast Queensland, it gives me a lot of concern as we head out towards tonight. And if we just play through the loop of this Leyburn cell, it has had a good life. I don't know why it doesn't want to load through. There we go. Yeah, this Leyburn cell, which is heading down towards Leyburn. So Leyburn is actually going to cop a direct hit from this cell here. Not a hit, a smashing. And then this will head out towards Clifton and Elora. So those are areas that we're going to be watching quite closely. soon, but this is a very powerful thunderstorm. And dare I say, we're probably getting close to life-threatening situation. Borderline very dangerous thunderstorm here, moving into the Leyburn area. Very, very concerning. Actually, let's go and see if we have an updated severe thunderstorm warning through southeast Queensland. We'll be looking at 7:45, which I believe is in 45 minutes, so it actually is quite a while away before we see our next severe thunderstorm update from that Leyburn cell. But yeah, this is bordering on a very dangerous thunderstorm. Anyone around Leyburn, let us know what's going on there. This includes Clifton and Elora. Put the cars away now. You do have a line of storms. They're likely to be substantially weaker. Warwick has kind of threaded the needle, but we've got a stronger storm just behind the Warwick storm here, and that's also likely to give Warwick a reasonable walloping as well. So expect some small hail in and around Warwick, but the biggest stuff is going to be further south, down towards the New South Wales-Queensland border, so including Killarney, Kurralia, down towards Dalman, Woodinbong, and then further north into the scenic rim. We'll also likely see some great thunderstorm activity, some very significant thunderstorm activity around Nobby and Clifton. Now this one here is going to slide north of Toowoomba, so the risk for Toowoomba is pretty minimal. They're likely to just see, or kind of thread between these two very powerful cells. I mean, that Leyburn one is packing a significant punch. We've also got a very strong cell behind it just towards the northwest of Texas. Yeah, very significant precipitation on our Lismore storm as well. In fact, it is actually beginning to increase in intensity, and this is through the Byron Bay hinterland. That's going to be moving directly north by the looks of things. Not quite. It's moving somewhere between New Brighton across towards Murraywarrumba. Yeah, very much we got a microburst in that Lismore one. This is the sort of thunderstorm that will drop 70 millimeters of rainfall. I've chucked that in my forecast, and when I did throw it in the forecast, I was a bit more like, interesting, but I don't actually know if 70 millimeters is a good number to be doing. It's definitely a worst case scenario. I'm very glad that I did put 70 millimeters, because just seeing how these thunderstorms are developing right now, the precipitation and the microbursting type activity that we're seeing, highly likely we see one or two spots picking up 70 millimeters, potentially even more rainfall from these cells as they slide up towards the north. Significant, that's for sure. Ipswich is all clear right now, yes. Any possibility for these storms headed to the lower parts of the Sunshine Coast, or will they cark it before they get there? We're probably looking at these storms making it up to the Sunshine Coast, but I don't think we're going to see them as a severe storm into the Sunshine Coast. It really take a bit of a miracle to get a thunderstorm of severe variety up onto the Sunshine Coast. Andrew, thank you very much for that. Will we get anything at Redcliffe? Likely some lightning and thunder activity, a few rumbles, that's for sure, but nothing of the severe variety. I doubt we'll see anything of the severe variety around the Redcliffe area, and that also includes Caboolture and much of Brisbane's northern suburbs. Looking healthy, looking very, very healthy. Now this is at Warwick. Raining pretty good at Warwick. Clifton and Nobby. Let's check in on those locations right now. Well, Leyburn's going to get it. Clifton and Nobby. I think Clifton will miss it. Nobby is just towards the north of Clifton, so they'll probably miss the worst bit as well. They'll get hit, but they won't get hit too hard. So I wouldn't be too concerned about Clifton and Nobby right now, but Leyburn I am quite concerned for. If this is dropping the hail that those reflectivity readings is suggesting, I mean, when we're talking about 75 decibels plus, in fact, it looks like on the latest radar imagery, that's even greater, 77.5. 77.5 decibels, we're talking about high-end microburst, or we're talking about hail approaching 6 centimeters, probably getting closer to 7 centimeters. So properly giant hailstones in the Leyburn area. Now the severe thunderstorm warning for this storm here, the Leyburn cell, says nothing about giant hailstones. So it also says nothing about heavy rainfall. BOM has dramatically underestimated the intensity of this storm. It's really blown up significantly. And Leyburn, it's going to be coming down in the next kind of minute to minute and a half or so. But BOM have underestimated this, and it looks like that is going to spell some pretty significant bad news for the Leyburn area. good hail just all around these storms as well, but it definitely looks like some of our high precipitation readings here, some of our higher reflectivity readings, unless we're talking about 75 decibels plus, we're not talking about giant hailstones today, because this is most likely going to be of the significant rainfall type stuff. Joshua Roberts, thank you very much for being a channel sponsor for 9 months. If you haven't already, then click the join button. We massively appreciate it. Anything for Ipswich tonight, not in the next 2 hours or so. We're going to be tracking the Ipswich storms as they begin to develop, but not quite right now. Yeah, we've got some very significant rotation in these thunderstorms as well, particularly on that Lismore cell. They've got a good microburst going on down there. Gold Coast, we'll be looking at these storms rolling through in about an hour's time from now. So, yeah, getting close to about 8 o'clock or so, AEST. 71 decibels, 73 decibels is the highest that I can pick up in our Bonnelbo storm here. Geez, Leyburn is really, really packing it, that's for sure. Do we have a confirmed 6 centimetre hailstone in Leyburn? That's pretty serious, particularly for a day like today, which was a giant hail risk, but mostly for New South Wales. 75 decibels holding strong. Far out. Very welcome, Crude Fire. 14 centimetre hailstones missed you by a suburb. You lucky, lucky, lucky person. Those were some mean stones, that's for sure. We have some very significant precipitation in this cluster, this absolute mess of storms here in the north of New South Wales, or northeast of New South Wales. And this is sort of what we're going to be looking at, is these, or at least now, these clusters of storms really joining up and then moving through southeastern Queensland with a lot of precipitation within them. And this is just going to continue to upscale into a big squall line later, and the rainfall is going to become more and more of a problem for southeast Queensland. I definitely reckon we're going to see some flash flooding through parts of the scenic rim. Brisbane about 2 hours, and the severe thunderstorm risk is very minimal. Michelle, thank you for becoming a channel sponsor. I need to update that list once again, because all the channel sponsors get a mention at the end of each video forecast. Special thank you for being my most valued monthly supporters. And we should have another update on Leyburn. 75 decibels, still very, very significant hail in this one. And some good winds as well. This is producing. This supercell thunderstorm just outside of Leyburn is really producing some significant severe thunderstorm conditions. We're talking potentially giant hailstones, very heavy rainfall, and some very strong wind gusts. Nick, thank you for becoming a channel sponsor as well. Possible impacts on the Gold Coast. We're most likely going to be talking just heavy rainfall, damaging wind gusts up to 90 kilometers an hour, and lots of lightning, but I don't expect anything too crazy. You can either thunder in the Tweed Valley. Well, it's not far away, let me tell you. I mean, Tweed Head's located up here. It is not far away, probably about half an hour away from the Tweed Valley and Tweed Heads. It really is not far away at all. And you can just see how much in the last half an hour, the amount of rainfall that has just developed into this northeastern pocket of New South Wales. It really is ramping up right now, really getting itself going. Jeez, look at all of this rainfall that's pouring through. Leyburn is moving down towards the south as well, so this will definitely throw areas between Allura and Warwick into the mix of things, but it may also throw Warwick itself directly into the thick of things. So Warwick, if you're watching from Warwick, you need to be keeping on top of this situation, because it could get really ugly really quick for the Warwick area. Sarah, thank you for becoming a channel sponsor as well. A little bit of thunder at Clifton. There is a big thunderstorm just outside of you, Moonlight. This is the storm that we're tracking right now. Very powerful indeed. That's going to pass just to the south of Leyburn, just to the south of Clifton through Leyburn. This is really significant stuff that's rolling through right now. This is called Radar Scope. It's a professional meteorology grade radar software. Highly recommended, but it is a bit difficult to wrap your head around, especially if you just want basic forecasts. I'd recommend going over to Windy and not wasting your time or money on Radar Scope, because it is a little bit on the pricier side. But the channel sponsors the reason that we have Radar Scope here and we can use such high-grade tools. Their ongoing support is massively appreciated. Rain is very heavy. Lotus, whereabouts are you? What are these empty circles? These are just radar glitches. I should make a whole video on these because this is a question that I get dozens of times each week. But yeah, they're just radar glitches, nothing to be worried about. It's just the radar glitching out a little bit. Blake, thank you very much, and I second that. Massively appreciated. Andrew, thank you for becoming a channel sponsor. Situation for the western suburbs of Brisbane. We will be looking at some substantial non-severe thunderstorms, but most likely of the weaker variety. Again, it's a bit hard to tell because the storms have exceeded expectations once again, and by the time they get over towards Ipswich they could be weaker, but we're definitely looking at an elevated risk for those areas. In Casino, I believe Casino actually dodged the worst of it as well. Yeah, they really did. So the fact that it was teeming around the Casino area, that's pretty significant, that's for sure. There must be some serious rainfall accumulations around the Lismore area. 42 millimeters in Bonnelbow. And keep in mind that all would have fallen in about 30 minutes or so. So some pretty good rainfall accumulations there. Definitely some intense stuff coming down. Flash flooding is a possibility, so remain vigilant. Insane lightning towards the north of Warwick. Yeah, this Millmerran cell here, which is now moving just towards the south of Leyburn. In fact, Leyburn they've very much dodged this. They've been very lucky to dodge this, the Leyburn town site, but just towards the south of Leyburn, that's producing some significant lightning. We've got that confirmation from Warwick as well. They're not quite going parallel to the coast. This is good news because this stuff here has a lot of rainfall in it, but it's moving along these parallel lines here, which means if it does get up to the Gold Coast, I think it is going to just skim the Gold Coast. It is just towards the south of the Gold Coast for the worst of it, but our steering flow is going to shunt these thunderstorms a little bit more to the north. So the Gold Coast is either going to clip it or cop it, and I know that's kind of like it might happen, it might not. But they're really going to be on that fringe case. The southern parts of the Gold Coast, we're talking down around the Coolangatta area close to the airport, they're going to get smashed with rainfall and damaging winds and potentially some hail as well. It's going to be one of the more severe storms that we've seen so far this year. But we're probably going to be looking at the Gold Coast being one of those sort of fringe cases right now. Yeah, they are quite fast moving. They're developing a lot faster than I initially expected as well. I don't know why this Windy keeps doing it. It's an incredibly fiddly piece of software. But if we keep playing this forward, you can see over the past hour, they've really developed. They've developed extremely quickly. I honestly think putting doonas and blankets over cars on the Gold Coast is overkill. Even though we have some half-decent hailstorms around, for the most part, we're probably looking at 3-centimeter hailstones on the Gold Coast at the absolute worst case scenario. But if you're going to tune out right now, then I would recommend doing it just because things could change. But for now, the risk is pretty minimal for the Gold Coast, at least on a giant hail type thing. Lotus, the rain has calmed down and then picked back up in Casino. Good to know. Sunshine Coast should miss out on the majority of this. I really don't think the Sunshine Coast is going to get too much. If it does hail in Brisbane, the best chance of hail is going to be around Logan City and Ipswich, and it will be no bigger than about 2, maybe 2.5 centimetres. Just keep in mind that these thunderstorms are not of the high-end varieties. They're not going to be destructive or damaging, but they are still quite strong, packing a punch, and I definitely think that for those that are going to be caught off guard by these thunderstorms, it is going to be quite a rough one. So make sure you do stay informed and stay on top of the situation. Let's go and check back in on our Leyburn storm. It looks like it has weakened off just a little bit as it passed south of Leyburn. We've still got a couple of thunderstorms here that are throwing out some decent reflectivity. Leyburn about 70 decibels, which is hail territory. And then this one here just towards the north of Eden Creek is also throwing out some decent hail as well. Yeah, Murphy's Law is always a good one. Because every time we say, oh, it's going to be a nothing burger, then they end up being crazy. So I'm not saying anything for the Gold Coast just yet. Southern parts of the Gold Coast are going to get significantly impacted by rainfall, at least rainfall, and probably damaging to locally destructive wind gusts as well. But on the hail side of things, it's a bit of a wild card right now, if you like. Lots of lightning strikes east side of Clifton, yeah. The Leyburn cell is extremely lightning active. There's a lot of lightning in these thunderstorms, that's for sure. Yeah, I'll definitely have a full detailed summary of what we've seen so far this storm season, that's for sure. I'll definitely want to be doing something like that. So that'll include like a top 5 storms and what we've seen so far, significant severe thunderstorm wise. Yeah, still a lot of precipitation on this this cluster of storms around the Lismore area. So these are the storms through here that are now moving towards the north of Byron Bay. A lot of precipitation, a lot of hail in these ones as well, moving out into the Pacific Ocean now. Baz, thank you very, very much. They're praying at the Gabba. I mean, if you're not backing Australia, you need to be praying, that's for sure. It'd take a miracle to pull England out of the hole that they've dug for themselves, and the day's play should be over by the time these thunderstorms roll up, if it's not already. In fact, I can pull that up. Big fella, I keep saying it, but I love the name. Gold Coast, wind gusts have picked up, can't see it to the southwest. Yeah, most of these storms are going to have some good rainfall in them, so if you're looking for rainfall, it's definitely some good news coming through. But yeah, now the fact that the winds have picked up, we're seeing this line begin to properly develop, and it's probably about 45 minutes away from the Gold Coast area itself. Yeah, small hail possible in Brisbane. We're probably talking no bigger than 2 centimetres, 3 centimetres at the absolute top. This is not a significant hail threat, southeast Queensland. This is nothing crazy, nothing significant, pretty standard all things considered. In fact, if you're looking for a comparison from these severe thunderstorms, I definitely think that we're going to be looking at sort of late summer squall line as opposed to significant early spring, late spring supercell thunderstorm outbreak. So we're probably talking about a quintessential February-March squall line. Nothing of the extremely dangerous or crazy variation. Our Clifton storm looking pretty healthy. Moving just towards the south of Clifton right now, moving south of Leyburn actually. It looks like it is actually on a beeline for Warwick. And if it holds on its current trajectory, it may pass just towards the north of Warwick. I definitely think Warwick, you either need to be monitoring the situation closely, and if you don't want to monitor this situation closely, then yeah, chuck that car inside, get yourself ready. Tweed Heads, look at this. Now this is some storm structure if ever I've seen some. Alright, let's get the annotator out, go full screen on this one. So check this out here, we have our wall cloud developing on the surface, good updraft coming into this thunderstorm, and a whopper anvil. I mean, this is some pretty low resolution imagery, but this thunderstorm here looking very healthy outside of Tweed Heads. That's juicy. That is a very, very juicy setup, that's for sure. Lots and lots of rainfall through northeastern New South Wales. I definitely think that, again, I've said this time and time again, but for northeastern New South Wales, this is now a rainfall threat. There are some storms with some hail in them, but this is predominantly a rainfall threat right now. Yeah, we could be talking about some relatively decent rainfall accumulations from some of these thunderstorms. If you are brand new to the channel, of course, I have to ask, please do consider subscribing and also leave a like on the stream whilst you're at it. Yeah, really beginning to upscale now, these thunderstorms. I mean, you can see this line now beginning to develop just outside of Toowoomba. Toowoomba, those thunderstorms are going to roll through. They're likely to break up around the Toowoomba area, which means Toowoomba is going to be spared from the worst of it. But we will be looking at some rainfall in the Toowoomba area, probably some good rumbles of thunder and lightning as well, and some strong wind gusts in the next 30 minutes or so. Harvey Bay, nah, nothing tonight. Maybe a distant rumble, but nah, nothing. There's no snow on the Gold Coast hinterland. Yeah, well, it's a shame that this rainfall isn't actually going to the areas that need it the most, such as the central coast of New South Wales. They've had some really serious fires down there, so it's a shame that this rainfall is not being sent down to those locations. But then again, they wouldn't want thunderstorms like this because of the wind threat. They would just fan those fires up even more. Until this thunderstorm risk bypasses Brisbane at the very earliest, that's when I'll click the stop button. Logan, mostly non-severe. The chance of severe thunderstorms is pretty minimal in the Logan area. But we will still be talking about some strong wind gusts and potentially some heavy rainfall in the Logan area as well. Let's just check back in on our high-resolution radar imagery. Still some good hail just towards the south of Leyburn. I really think that this is going to go into Warwick, if not just missing it. I might call it right now, Warwick. It's a good idea. Yeah, I'd say prepare now, Warwick. Just looking at these thunderstorms trajectory. It's a bit difficult to say here. Whilst this cell is appearing to weaken, we do have a couple of other cells out here. This one's moving up towards Warwick. This one here, our Leyburn storm, which is weakening off a little bit, will clip Warwick just towards the north, but still likely to have some significant rainfall within it. And I mean, look at our wind speeds on the cell just towards the north of Lismore. This is what we're talking about today with our squall line. Winds here getting close to 80 kilometers an hour, potentially even 90 kilometers an hour in one or two spots. That's quite strong. Well, very strong indeed. And we've got our cell now moving out towards the north of Byron Bay. This is around New Brighton up towards Burganga or something. I'm not 100% sure how to say that. Yeah, definitely looking pretty healthy, that's for sure. These thunderstorms looking really, really good right now. Now, I need to figure out how to make these town locations a little bit bigger because I'm struggling to read them, so I can't imagine how they're showing up on stream right now, so I apologise for that. Yeah, Bribey, I don't think you're going to get smashed today. I really don't think Bribey is going to get smashed at all. FML, thank you for the donation. Oh. Just saw the forecast, basically spitting around Brisbane. I definitely think we're going to see some good lightning, that's for sure. But for Brisbane, if you're excited for severe thunderstorms, well, I'd say don't, because if we have a look at our convective forecast modelling here, which is normally pretty accurate, it does say that we've got a pretty juicy squall line coming through. But I do believe that for the Brisbane area, it's going to be mostly of the non-severe variety, I would say so. Burganga, thank you. Alright, let's see if we've got a refresh here from Bomb on the severe thunderstorm front. Still not a dangerous storm, and I understand that now because it has weakened off a little bit. But this is going to move just towards the north of Warwick. Warwick, I would still suggest, though, just to be safe, put that car inside. Bomb have not raised the severe thunderstorm chance yet, which normally for southeast Queensland is pretty accurate. When they do say severe thunderstorms are inbound, we generally pay attention. I don't know why that just did that again. Very fiddly software here. But yeah, so far the convective modelling has absolutely nailed it. Yes, I believe after this Lismore is in the all clear. There's still going to be a couple of cells coming in behind over the next hour or so for Lismore. But I don't think we're going to see anything too crazy. I do appreciate the donation as well. So thank you. Good cluster of thunderstorms out here around the Warwick area, particularly through the Darling Downs. That's moving off towards, well, generally speaking, it's moving off towards the northeast. For the Ipswich area, we're looking at this. Well, this line is going to properly develop in the next hour or so. And whilst it does look like it is going to split, I definitely think around the Ipswich area we'll be talking about some pretty significant rainfall accumulations and maybe even some damaging wind gusts as well around the Ipswich area. So that's going to be a feature to watch as well. So yeah, for Ipswich and surrounding and adjacent suburbs, we're going to be talking about some good thunderstorms. Have we got the very dangerous tag for the northeast of New South Wales? We do. Potentially giant hailstones around the, well, now getting close to the border ranges. Whoa, 113 km/h wind gusts now at Cape Byron. Golf ball sized hail at Jacket Gary or something, Jack Gary. Golf ball is, I believe, 4 centimetres or so. So this is just towards the north of Byron Bay, and that is our very strong thunderstorm here, this cell here. So we've got golf ball sized hailstones in that. That is good to know. Quiet in the Tweed Valley. Calm before the storm, I would imagine, for the Tweed Valley. Yeah, this is definitely producing some potentially giant hailstones as well. Sunshine Coast, I don't think there's going to be much at all. Depends on what you class as much. If we're talking about just a blatant thunderstorm risk, it is there for the Sunshine Coast, but for a severe thunderstorm risk, it's pretty much nil right now. Let's just play this loop through and see what we've got. Our strongest cell right now is still that one just towards the south of Tweed, but that is heading out offshore, so Tweed should dodge the worst of that, but we're seeing these thunderstorms now develop along the border ranges, so Tweed will get those storms in about 30 minutes or so. Jackadry, thank you very much. And then as those head into the border ranges and through the scenic rim, which they're beginning to do now, in fact they're approaching Rathdowney, those winds will really pick up. So these thunderstorms moving along a bit faster than what I initially expected. We've also got a very strong storm here just outside of Inglewood, and that's going to be pushing up towards Warwick in about 30 minutes or so. So if this one does hold together for Warwick, it's going to be quite strong. For Brisbane, we're probably talking about this coming through in about an hour and a half now, I would say. Surfers Paradise, very windy. Ooh, we have a very strong gust front approaching here. So this is called velocity, which is basically an estimate of how strong the winds are based off radar imagery. And I know it says it in miles per hour, but let me do the translating for you. 60 miles per hour here along the border ranges. This is between Rathdowney at the Springbrook National Park, and this is moving up towards the Tally Valley and then Tamborine Mountain. In fact, it looks like it's going to go through the Tamborine Mountain area. These winds of 60 to 65 miles per hour, we're looking at winds or wind gusts here approaching 125 kilometers an hour. So this into the Canungra area, around Bow Desert, Springbrook National Park, Narang. This is a very strong thunderstorm and definitely one to be taken quite seriously right now. I would expect some very strong wind gusts in this. Yeah, I don't think we've got anything too crazy on the hail side of things on southeast Queensland. The massive hailer here, which is moving towards the north of Brunswick Heads, is heading out to sea. And even our hailers around Wollongong, they've weakened off a little bit. Our hailstorm around Leyburn's also weakened off a little bit. Now, that's just because the sun's gone down now, so things are going to begin to wind back a little bit on the hail side of things. But now it's just upscale, 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 which means heavy rainfall, destructive wind gusts, in fact, very heavy rainfall and destructive wind gusts coming through. And that's going to be the risk over the next couple of hours. So our giant hail risk is now beginning to wind back, but it is not done just yet. Keep that in mind, not done just yet. Rathdowney 100 km/h gusts, yeah, I believe that as well. Let's see if we can actually get some of the radar imagery up from BOM. And go over to the Doppler here. This is another Doppler that's pretty easy to understand. When we're talking about these deep blues with embedded reds, very significant wind gusts embedded within. These are moving into the Darlington and Springbrook area right now. Just down here. Unfortunately, we don't have any observations, which is a shame, but I believe Cape Byron, 119 km/h wind gusts at Cape Byron. That's very strong indeed. So if we've got anyone watching from Byron Bay, first of all, hello. Second of all, let us know how strong those winds got to. They got quite strong, that's for sure. Thank you very much, Imbure, for the donation there. How long will the thunder last in Brisbane? Short and sharp hit, 20 to 30 minutes or so. Bomb warnings. We can go and check that. Well, I do periodically check back in with them. But in terms of what we have for bomb right now, yep, our Warwick cells weakened off. They really did dodge a bullet there, that's for sure. Good cell here outside of Englewood. We've been talking about that one for a bit now, moving into the Southern Downs. That one's got a good punch in it, some good hail in that one too. And then, yeah, Rathdowney, this one here moving into the Springbrook National Park. I do believe that forecast should have been revised to include a bit more northerly motion. But, yeah, this one's a strong one. We're probably talking about winds here approaching 120 kilometres an hour, or gusts approaching 120 kilometres an hour. Nah, I don't think we've got hail headed for Warwick just yet. I mean, this storm here is probably going to pass just to the south of Warwick, and that's our only Queensland cell with a significant hail risk right now. And even that appears to be winding back a little bit. Logan's not affected yet, but it will be soon. Still some very heavy rainfall in these thunderstorms here. This is our severe one that's going in towards southeast Queensland, just outside of Rathdowney. This one's going to go up towards Tamborine Mountain. And by the time it gets to Tamborine Mountain, we're talking about a lot of very heavy rainfall, likely in the rain gauges by that time. It could be as much as 70 millimetres as well. Cricket's over, Australia 1, fantastic. Stick around for winter because I will be doing a lot of how-to and explanation videos. So, yeah, definitely stick around to that, for that. Can I do a... Oh, I just answered that one. Moreton Bay, thoughts on that? Ooh, we should check back in on the forecast. It's definitely going to be impacted by that squall that's rolling in. But I don't really think it's going to be severe. The worst of these storms will be in kind of two corridors. One of them here, just towards the south of Toowoomba, and then inland into the Wivenhoe outlook. And then we'll likely have one or two good storms embedded in this squall line moving through southern Brisbane and around the Gold Coast area as well. Nothing too nuts though. Tweed's Bay webcam, I can do that. Holy moly, look at this here. Now that is impressive. That is an impressive shelf cloud. It's a pretty grainy image, all things considered, but yeah, we knew that this would be an impressive image. Now let me just annotate it for you. In fact, it's actually managed to capture a lightning bolt, so that's pretty incredible. But we've got a defined shelf cloud here, good updraft coming into this storm, a beautiful anvil spreading out here, and nice, just beautiful structure all round. This is a great tail, as well as pointed out by Trent from Southeast Storm Media. This is very, very impressive. Lots of lightning and burly waters, sure would be. That is an incredibly impressive snapshot. Super cool to see. Just outside of Tweed Heads. Very impressed. And a lot of lightning in that as well. That's now rolling out into the Pacific Ocean. So Tweed Heads, you guys haven't dodged a bullet. You guys have dodged a bomb. Not quite a bomb. That's a little bit aggressive. But you've definitely dodged a strong thunderstorm. You haven't dodged all of it though. There's definitely going to be some good thunderstorm activity rolling through into the Tweed Heads area shortly. But in terms of the wildly severe stuff, it's passed just down towards the south. Good storms here outside of Rathdonia, and again, rolling up into the Tambourine Mountain area through the Gold Coast hinterland. There will be some good stuff there on the storm front. Likely not. Once these initial storms are done, that should be it. Yeah, I really do think that that's going to be it after. I mean, because we are seeing a couple of storms here, but these ones are just not going to get themselves going because our dew points are not good towards the east of this line, because we've already seen thunderstorm activity out here. So once this line kind of condenses and rolls up into the Brisbane area, that will be it after that. Once you're on the backside of that, that's going to be it. Benora 50 km/h winds. Gee, a lot of lightning in this one. There's a lot of lightning going on around here through southeast Queensland. I imagine if you are on the Gold Coast and you look south, that would be pretty good, that's for sure. Nah, no risk of tornado. The chance of a tornado today is next to nothing. Jeez, and this is getting stronger as well, pushing up in towards southeastern Queensland around the Springbrook National Park area. That has got a punch. On the wind side of things as well, it's not often at this time of the year we see a predominantly wind threat, and that's what we're seeing right now. Gold Coast light show confirmed? Sure would be. Be some pretty significant lightning occurring there. And as mentioned, Warwick now seeing a decent hailstorm, particularly into the southern end of the suburbs. Let us know what Warwick is like right now. Yeah, safe to say that Clifton was never expected to get it, but we are still monitoring that storm. Clifton has dodged it. Good storm now developing out here, but this will likely pass just to the south of Warwick if it even manages to get to Warwick. Beaudesert is here around the Canungra area. It's likely to get very windy around the Beaudesert area shortly. So Beaudesert will begin to get windy, and yeah, we'll be talking about some significant winds and potentially some significant rainfall as well shortly. Yeah, our hail risk is now beginning to dial back through the northeast of New South Wales. Which is good. It's good to see that the hail risk is beginning to wind back a little bit. And then there's no other thunderstorms that I'm seeing that are suspect or anything like that, so that's also good news. The fact that they're now beginning to wind down in intensity on the hail side of things is really good news. But they're just beginning to ramp up now on the wind side of things. Let's see if we can find any photos or videos of these thunderstorms. I don't think there's going to be anything coming through just yet because they are over the border ranges, but still always an interesting time to check in. So the rainfall risk is continuing to ramp up through the border ranges area as well. So this is definitely going to be an area to watch in the next hour or so on the rainfall side of things. I'm keen to see what sort of rainfall accumulations we see here. Good cells out here. I mean, this Inglewood cell is definitely one that we want to be watching closely. And this is all joining up. So a key trend that we're beginning to see here with these thunderstorms is that they're all joining up into this squall line. I mean, as predicted as well. I mean, we're basically just rolling through the reality of the forecast earlier today. So that's always good news to see that the forecast is coming into fruition. But yeah, these thunderstorms are now properly beginning to upscale. And when we're talking about upscaled thunderstorms, we're talking about an increased risk of rainfall and winds and a decreased risk of giant hailstones. Yeah, the circles are just glitches. Nothing to worry about at all. Yes, the New South Wales squall will join with the Queensland one. They're now rolling into southeast Queensland now. So it's official, these thunderstorms are crossing the border. And they're getting more intense on the rainfall side of things, actually. I mean, we knew that they would, but they really are beginning to ramp up on the rainfall side. No update yet from BOM. That's all good. But if we go to the New South Wales rainfall and river conditions, good rainfall accumulations. This is good to see just outside of Lismore. 51 millimetres at Gulmanga. And multiple locations picking up between 30 to 50 millimetres outside of Casino, Kyogle, and then up into the Brunswick area as well, moving into the Tweed Valley. This is excellent, excellent stuff. All of it falling in the last hour as well. So it's good to see this rainfall is coming through. As long as we aren't seeing flooding just yet, good to know. But yeah, this is great rainfall. Very, very happy to be able to report on this, that's for sure. Canungra is probably about 20 to 30 minutes out from these thunderstorms, but they're moving along very quickly, so it could actually be a little bit sooner into the Canungra area. And those winds are a major, major threat. Canungra, it's about to get really windy for your location. And just a messy cluster of storms trying to upscale around the Warwick area. But yeah, Warwick is going to see some a decent hailstorm in about half an hour or so. Again, for those of you wondering where Warwick is, it's here in kind of the middle of the screen. The text is so small, and I do apologise for that. Yep, won the cricket, steamrolled through them twice now, so that's great. Thank you very much, Veronica, for your kind, kind words. Very grateful to have you watching. Cleveland, weaker storms later, mostly of the non-severe variety. In fact, I'm honestly surprised that we're seeing severe thunderstorms of this magnitude making it into southeast Queensland like this. These are strong storms. They're a lot stronger than I expected, so hopefully they do begin to weaken off soon, but that severe thunderstorm warning now extending throughout the Southern Downs, parts of the Toowoomba region, parts of the Lockyer Valley, and then through much of the Scenic Rim and about half of the Gold Coast as well. Yeah, hail west of Warwick. Small hail, nothing too big, but we're talking about small hailstones still. 2 to 3 centimetres or so. Not a really strong storm, but still we've got some good winds in that one as well, so it's probably going to get pretty windy in Clifton. Not in Clifton, sorry, in Warwick soon, and I guess for all surrounding areas as well, including Clifton, Nobby, and then Alora as well. Brian, thank you for becoming a channel sponsor. The southern half of the Gold Coast is where the Yeah, good winds now through the southeast of Queensland, particularly through the scenic rim. That's some pretty significant wind gusts that are blowing through right now. Still raining around the Lismore area. Those rainfall accumulations continuing to build up, and there is some more rainfall behind it. It's probably going to rain on and off for the next hour, maybe even hour and a half through parts of northern New South Wales. Even if you've seen all of the storm activity that you'll get today, it's going to keep on raining. Keep on raining. Yeah, Toowoomba's lucky. They're looking like they're going to miss this, which is good news. That Leyburn cell's still holding on as it rolls down towards the Warwick area. That's definitely going to be a storm worth watching around Warwick. Or by the time it gets to Warwick. Still a lot of rainfall, just a monstrous amount of rainfall accumulations, or a monstrous amount of rainfall through these thunderstorms here. This rainfall is going to continue to pick up as well. So southeast Queensland, Gold Coast, it's going to get quite wet, but particularly for those locations just inland from the Gold Coast, we're talking this area here. That's going to go right for the Gold Coast, actually. So I'm going to revise my prediction from about half an hour ago. We're looking at rainfall coming into the Gold Coast very soon. And we've got some strong wind gusts associated with it. In fact, a gust front is now beginning to develop, stretching from Bow Desert across to basically the Springbrook National Park area. And there is some good wind gusts in these. Some very good wind gusts. At least 100 kilometres an hour, probably getting closer to 115 kilometres an hour. And you can see that proper kind of line of thunderstorms now properly beginning to develop. At Rockley, heaps of lightning down towards the south. There sure is. Anyone in Brisbane, get yourself a clear view and look south. It will be lightning central. Cam's fishing addiction, thank you very, very much. I'll put that to good use. Runaway Bay, far northern Gold Coast, yeah. Now that it's all joining up and it's going to push up into the Gold Coast area, I mean, these thunderstorms should still continue their line out towards the north east, which means only clipping Ipswich and maybe even only clipping the Brisbane metro area. But Runaway Bay, northern Gold Coast, definitely looking at some good thunderstorm activity, that's for sure. Aren't you lucky you still get a fishing season? It's been shut down offshore from Western Australia. Very, very devastated about that, let me tell you. What will the winds look like for Warwick? Up to 100 kilometres an hour, probably pushing close to 110 kilometres an hour or so. These circles are just radar glitches. So it's just the Marburg radar here and the Toowoomba radar or the Highfields radar glitching out, giving us bad echoes, or dud echoes as they're known as. Logan area, about an hour away, you're going to be looking at some strong wind gusts and potentially some very heavy rainfall as well rolling through. Yeah, we've been looking at the Tweed Heads webcam. In fact, if we just check back in on it now, you can see from 3 minutes ago, this is, holy smokes, look at this. Let me just take this in for about 2 seconds and then let's annotate this. So we've got a lot of cloud coverage here very close to the ground. It's a little bit difficult to see. I'm struggling to see it, so I don't know how any of you guys are seeing it, but just let me tell you that there is some significant cloud coverage here on the ground. This tells me very heavy precipitation. Very, very heavy precipitation. In fact, we're talking at least 80 millimeters an hour or so. Yeah, and these clouds mean blue. It's not exactly a true color image because the camera is now flicking over towards its night mode. But we've got a good line here, very strong winds blowing through. I'm not sure if you can see, but the trees are kind of lying on an angle here, so we've got some good wind gusts developing along these trees. Yeah, wow, this is an impressive scan. This tells me this thunderstorm is very, very, very strong. They're looking right into the core of it as well. In fact, not even into the most severe part. This webcam here is looking into the Murray-Willumbah area, and the strongest part is just out in this vicinity here. Those southern parts of the Gold Coast, you guys are going to get absolutely smashed by this. That is for sure. Again, like I said, I'm still holding firm with my prediction that the Gold Coast and the areas north are going to clip it, but the southern parts of the Gold Coast, car inside, and the risk is not from the hail, it's from the winds that could blow over trees and rip carports apart. That's a significant thunderstorm rolling through, and definitely one to be taking very seriously right now into the southern parts of the Gold Coast. And it is continuing to move and form it very quickly. Wind gusts actually topped out at 119 kilometres an hour in the Gold Coast. How windy is it in Tweed Heads? 100 kilometres an hour. Wow. I believe that. Drops starting in Burleigh Waters. I imagine it's pretty rumbly at Burleigh Waters as well. Pretty rumbly indeed. This is continuing to strengthen as well. Now the good thing is it's not like Monday the 24th of November where this thunderstorm developed in the same spot and then rode up into the Brisbane area. This thunderstorm and its cells are rolling just towards the northeast. There are a couple of cells that are a little bit concerning that are moving up towards Brisbane, but for the most part the worst of this is rolling up into the Gold Coast area and should slide out to sea before it gets into the Brisbane area. Hang on a second. Let's just get a latest radar scan here. That Tweed Heads webcam just outside of Kingscliff. That's a very concerning picture. Warwick, we need to get back to that. It's all happening now, as these thunderstorms like to do. They go crazy. So this is just outside of Tweed Heads, just to the south of Tweed Heads, developing now, moving into Kingscliff. Car inside immediately for Kingscliff, unless it's starting right now, which it most likely is. Very significant rainfall rates here, likely a microburst as well, just given these winds which are approaching 125 kilometres an hour. This is a potentially dangerous thunderstorm now rolling into the Tweed Heads area. You need to be hunkered down into your house, away from windows, off the roads. If you're driving, pull over. Just make sure you are ready for this severe thunderstorm's impact. It's going to be a short, sharp blow, but it is going to pack a punch. And then just checking back in a little bit further inland, really solid thunderstorm and lightning activity now around the Warwick area. Hail in the southern areas of Warwick down towards Killarney. We're likely to see some significant hail around the Killarney area as well, approaching 4 centimetres in diameter. And then this front here, which is going to clip just towards the south of Warwick, but moving through Warwick with some hail as well, likely to see some rather significant impacts in and around the Warwick area. Strong wind gusts, large hail, both possible. This is a serious situation now for the southern suburbs of the Gold Coast. We're looking at this thunderstorm now approaching Coolangatta in about 5 minutes, Burleigh Waters in about 5 minutes as well. Those winds really beginning to pick up now for Burleigh Waters as well. For the Gold Coast, we're talking about 15 minutes, Southport 20 minutes or so, Oxenford, Coomera and Parkwood about 30 minutes from now. Now this thunderstorm is developing along this line here. It's a solid squall line now with a very impressive, I don't think it's quite a bow echo yet, but it is very strong. It's definitely of a severe variety. And we're talking about wind gusts here approaching 125 kilometres an hour. So for those in Cedar Vale, Bow Desert, Boonah, Roadvale, Canungra, Tambourine Mountain, Gold Coast, Clear Island Waters, Burleigh Waters, Coolangatta, Tweed Heads, and then down into other locations through the northeast of New South Wales, stay inside and make sure you're ready for potentially destructive wind gusts to move through. This is a strong thunderstorm. It is not a life-threatening situation yet, but this thunderstorm warrants you to be inside, it warrants some preparations, and it warrants you to be concerned. Don't panic, but definitely be concerned about this thunderstorm if you are caught outside and in the thick of things. Looking south from Cooley is hectic. Of course, if you've got any photos, send them over to me over on Facebook. I'd be more than happy to take a look, and I will share some to the Facebook page after the stream is done. But we're definitely looking at a seriously severe thunderstorm rolling through now. Very, very powerful indeed. Let's see if we have an update here from the Bureau of Meteorology. We do actually, but none of these thunderstorms have been tagged as dangerous yet. And this is going into the Gold Coast area, our Springbrook National Park cell. This is a dangerous situation for the Gold Coast. damaging to locally destructive wind gusts, and this is going to be an ongoing situation over the next half an hour or so. Gold Coast, let us know what's going on there. It will be quite a rough one, I can imagine, through the Gold Coast. So let us know what's happening, what the situation is on the Gold Coast. I'm keen to know more. Wow. This is wild, that is for sure. This is wild. And looking very, very healthy, this thunderstorm. Definitely quite a concerning one. Already seeing a bunch of photos and videos coming through. The second screen is being absolutely blown up right now. So thank you to everybody that's sending in their photos and their videos. Send it through over on the Facebook page. If you haven't already, I'd be more than happy to take a look at them. Now, of course, if you are brand new to the channel, please do consider subscribing as well. Kingscliff, 4cm hailstones. Flights to the airport is likely to be shut down for these thunderstorms rolling through. And that will definitely include the Gold Coast Airport. That will likely be shut down by now. Skid weather. You'd be a lot braver than me if you're doing stuff like that in these thunderstorms. It is a big wave. It's a great way to think of these thunderstorms when they turn into squall lines. A wave hits you like a ton of bricks and then slowly begins to calm down a little bit more a little bit later on. Sheet lightning and thunder. No wind yet in Robina. And it looks like these are all beginning to upscale as well. So this is all going to join up pretty soon by the time these storms roll into the Boonah and the Bow Desert area about 20 minutes from now. And then the march to Brisbane will be on. It'll be about an hour after that, so probably about an hour and a half of Brisbane. And the revised forecast modelling suggests that this is going to come through as a pretty strong thunderstorm. Yes, there are embedded supercells in this line, but we're not talking about massive supercell thunderstorms. We're definitely not talking about a comparison to Gold Coast 2023 on Christmas. It's not a fair comparison. But we are keeping an eye on our velocity readings as well. There are some suspect pockets that are suggesting supercell thunderstorm activity, and definitely some very solid wind readings around the Burleigh Waters area moving up into the Gold Coast. We've got winds likely approaching on a widespread capacity 100 kilometers an hour, and then on a concentrated capacity getting close to 120 kilometers an hour. Carrara, it is heading your way for sure. A lot of wind and rain in Coolangatta. I can imagine it would be quintessential squall line rolling through Coolangatta. But of course, if you've got a weather report for your location, leave it in the chat. That is the reason we do these live coverage, because we can get hold of live weather reporting. This is a suspect pocket here just outside of Dungay. And this is just south of the Tally Valley. Another little suspect pocket through here. In fact, if we check our correlation coefficient. Ooh. Now this is what confirmed our tornado back on November 24th. So this is a very big concern right now. I'm not saying tornado. I don't call tornadoes unless I've got a visual proof, and we learnt that on the 24th of November. We refrained from calling it a tornado until the next day, when we finally got confirmation that it was actually a tornado from the damage. So this is not a tornado, and I'm not suggesting it right now, but we have a powerful mesocyclone now moving through Springbrook. This is going for the Natural Bridge National Park and likely to move into the Nerang area in about 20 minutes time. This has a punch, that's for sure. This has a very big punch. Very strong wind gusts approaching 125 kilometers an hour. If we have a look at our velocity radar, you can see some very tight rotation around the Springbrook area, and also outside of Nobby's Creek and Dungay. This is a tight, rotating, powerful thunderstorm, and most certainly one that is cause for concern. Those ahead of this one need to take this storm very seriously. Baz, thank you very much for the kind donation, and also your kind words too. Yeah, this is really, that's quite concerning. The fact that we've got, those evidence of rotation in here. It's embedded supercell thunderstorm activity. I'm not seeing anything yet that's suggestive of tornadoes, that's for sure. So I'm not calling this tornadoes, but we're definitely looking at strong mesocyclones and mesovortices in here. Which basically just means destructive wind threat from these thunderstorms that is rolling through. If Logan gets hail, it'll be small, less than 2 centimeters. Yes, if this is a mesocyclone, you would need to remain inside. Mesocyclones can cause some significant damage. Jimboomba is dead still. Calm before the storm for Jimboomba. That is going to change very soon. Mesocyclones are byproducts of supercell C. Yes, they do come in the form of very dangerous thunderstorms more often than not. Yes, if you survive Cyclone Alfred, then you are fine. There's no risk of a tornado right now. I need to be stressing that. There is no risk of a tornado. We're keeping an eye on a few suspect locations which could be producing some significant rotation and potentially mesovortices which could produce some very strong to locally destructive wind gusts. But for now, there's no risk of tornadoes developing, and there isn't a concern that warrants moving into basements or anything like that right now. Still very much a feature that we need to be keeping an eye on. Zero wind and then 50 kilometers in a minute, and thunder at Robina. It'd be really beginning to pick up in the Robina area. I believe Robina is north of the Gold Coast, if my memory serves me right. Good storms. I mean, really good storm activity. If we just play through our loop. And I mean, if you've been watching since the start, you've noticed that the precipitation rates have really dropped off over the past hour. But we're still talking about these thunderstorms being equally dangerous, equally as strong. No, it is not safe to get the crab pots out. Not at all. If you're anywhere along the southeast Queensland coast up to about Bribie Island, it is not safe at all. Oh, southwest of surface, we'll be talking about Mermaid Beach area. New South Wales warning has updated. Let's go and have a look. That should mean our Queensland warning has updated as well. Not quite. Bomb a little bit behind on that one. They've dropped it. The very dangerous brisk is now done and dusted. 50 millimetres an hour. 50 millimetres in 30 minutes at Mullumbimby Creek in northeastern New South Wales. 44 millimetres in 30 minutes at Gulmanga Creek near Lismore. 119 km an hour wind gust. And these thunderstorms in New South Wales are now beginning to wind down. None of them tagged as dangerous yet in southeast Queensland. We're going to be getting a lot of rainfall, that's for sure. These thunderstorms are packing a punch on the rainfall side of things. How is that light show south of Beaudesert? In fact, south of Mount Tamborine. If you've got a good view, let us know what that light show is like. There is a lot of lightning in here. Thunder should be beginning to become audible in the Brisbane area. In fact, as we can see right now, these thunderstorms out at Cecil Plains and Millmerran are now beginning to join up. This cluster of storms is about to join up to our line here, and you can see we've got a good organised line around the Gold Coast. This is really beginning to ramp up now. It's not way worse than forecast. It's probably about 10 to 15% worse than what we've forecast. 10 to 15% more severe. And that's kind of been the trend with these thunderstorms so far this storm season. They've always been about 20% more severe than what the forecast was initially. Started to rain in Nerang. Yeah, the light show would be absolutely amazing. This will be one of the most impressive lightning displays we've had all year. Light hail in Burleigh waters. Doesn't surprise me, 2 centimetre stones is what we've been expecting. Heavy rain in the Tweed Valley. Flash flooding is expected with these thunderstorms. We'll be looking at some big puddles as these thunderstorms roll on through. Big puddles, likely streets filling with water as well. This could really overwhelm some of the drains as well through southeast Queensland as they roll through. I know Queensland is built for flooding, so it shouldn't be of much concern, but this will still cause some problems. Yes, this will hit Logan probably in about 45 minutes or so, getting close to about 8:45 tonight. Storms are about an hour ahead of schedule right now. You don't have to close the windows yet in Brisbane. You've still got about half an hour. When that wind does go calm, then I'd recommend closing up those windows. Thunderstorm map from the ECMWF. Let's have a look at it. It's suggesting a big blotch over the Brisbane area. That's what we expected. We knew that today would be a massive lightning day, and this is what lightning is expected. This map here shows lightning density. Anything over 10 is impressive. Anything over 20 is super impressive. I've seen numbers above 30 before, and that's constant bang, 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 bang type lightning. And we're getting pretty close to that, actually. Some of these storms are producing some solid lightning. Warwick in about 15 minutes or so. Let us know what it's like in Warwick. Definitely going to be looking at some significant rainfall. Probably some hail as well in the Warwick area. Bow Desert, it's likely to be severe when it rolls through, mainly for winds, but potentially for rainfall as well. Pouring in Warwick, no hail. Yep, that's good because this is one of the more intense cells we've got around the Warwick area. So the fact that it doesn't have hail is comforting to know. It means that Warwick's now unlikely to get large hail. Extremely calm in Coomera. It's probably about 5 minutes away now for Coomera. Whereabouts is the Good Things Festival? That's been kind of a hot topic in my comment section, so let me know where the Good Things Festival is, approximately, and I will... I'll see if I can give a bit of an outlook for the Good Things Festival. Yeah, this is what we're looking at here, Bruce Transit. I appreciate the donation. This is a serious radar scan here. This is a big squall line. This is a big squall line. Lightning in Pimpama. Bowen Hills, is that north or south of Brisbane? Raining heavily in Burleigh, really strong winds and lots of thunder. Oh, so it's right in the CBD. It looks like these storms will roll through at about 9 o'clock tonight. The lightning risk will begin from about 8:40, 8:45-ish. Sunshine Coast, a lot weaker. Pimpemba, thank you. Yeah, I don't really think that we're going to be talking about a large hail risk. So if you do leave the cars out today, it's going to be fine, but I wouldn't be parking them under trees. This sort of, this sort of wind and rain will be chopping down trees, that's for sure. Oh, Pimpimba. We'll spell it correctly next time. Heavy but steady rainfall in the Tweed heads west, but not too much lightning or crazy wind. Good to know. South Marwilba, the lightning is very bright, lights up the whole environment. And I imagine it's pretty much just bang, bang, bang lightning. It'd just be going constantly around the northeast of New South Wales. Still, I mean, these thunderstorms are throwing out some incredible lightning, and it is almost relentless. This is a very strong part of the storm. That's going to go right through the Gold Coast area as well. The northern suburbs of the Gold Coast may miss out, particularly around Coomera up to around Parkwood and Sanctuary Cove, for example. But Gold Coast up towards Southport and SeaWorld, very big rainfall and wind coming in right now. And this is actually beginning to move into the Gold Coast region now. So if you're on the Gold Coast canals, let us know what it's like. Patchy rain right now. We've got all these storms out here as well. These deserve some attention soon. I'll get to those in just a second. Far out. This is, doing pretty good. This cell is really doing pretty good. Surface is getting it. Yeah, I can imagine it'd be absolutely smashing Surface Paradise. How does this stack up in comparison to regular late summer squall lines? Because this is what we've been comparing these thunderstorms to. And Bomb has apparently updated. Yep, very slow moving storm. I'm honestly surprised that that doesn't have a very dangerous tag. This will be dropping close to 130 millimeters an hour or so. No, I cannot predict power outages. We have no idea. It is all down to the network and the grid. Typical. I would expect this to be typical, but on the stronger side. Taylor, thank you very much for your input so far this stream as well. Yeah, nothing for Upper Coomera. It's interesting because Bomber calling for this storm to train out kind of this way, and like I kind of said as well just a few minutes before the bomb updated, we're looking at it kind of missing these areas between Beanley down towards the Gold Coast, so definitely around the Parkwood area. Yes, I'm getting a lot of reports of usual to a little bit worse than usual. We're looking at the worst bit lasting for about 15 minutes and then about 45 minutes of rainfall and rumbles afterwards. On the stronger side, righto. Our mesocyclone activity within these cells. Ooh, Tweed. This may get pretty ugly pretty soon. Just give me a second here. I don't know why it's not allowing me to zoom in. I'd appreciate if the arrow wanted to work. No, it doesn't want to. Alright, so for this little suspect cell here, this is moving out towards Tweed Heads. That's a mesocyclone. So what we're talking about with a mesocyclone is a concentrated area of destructive wind gusts, and that's got some solid rotation in on it as well. So the worst of this storm has passed just south of the Gold Coast. We've still got some really serious rainfall in this storm here, but we're talking about Tweed Head seeing some nasty wind gusts in the next 15 minutes. Starting pretty much right now, but in the next 15 minutes, really nasty wind gusts moving through the Tweed Heads area. We've also got a bit of a suspect spot here as well. This is going to roll into Burleigh Waters. A little bit less severe than the Tweed Heads one, but still quite strong. Oh, it does not compare to 2023. This storm is nowhere close to 2023. We're definitely looking at winds here approaching 125 kilometers an hour in the center of this storm. Good gusts as well between Toowoomba down to the New South Wales Queensland border, particularly around the Warwick area. Those storms are going to pack some serious wind gusts. So yeah, Tweed Heads, just make sure you are inside. Keep in mind, a mesocyclone is not a tornado. It behaves a lot like a microburst. A mesocyclone is a cloud structure that is associated with microbursts, which is intense concentrated precipitation. Coolangatta winds really picking up now, I can imagine. Awful in Tweed, yeah. It'd be very severe. Tweed has really, really copped the rough end of the stick on this one. Far out. Warwick, what is it like out towards your west? Anyone in Clifton or Elora or Warwick, let us know what it is like out towards your west, because this is a nice line that's really ramping up now, and there is a lot of lightning in this one. Cooley is heavy as. Corey, happy birthday. Yeah, a lot of this is sliding. We will still see this front continue to develop up here as it rolls towards the north of Clifton, but it is going to be a little bit weaker by the time it gets itself up towards Ipswich. Mesocyclones can produce tornadoes, but quite rarely in Australia. They do happen, but quite rarely. This afternoon before the storm, the temp and humidity dropped a bit, just enough to make it noticeable. Yeah, so today had a very strong cap, which is the inversion between temperatures and humidity. It's scientific gobbledygook. It's stuff that I don't even fully understand, unfortunately. But basically what that means is we've got a big difference between temperatures and humidity. Unfavourable for thunderstorms. You need to get it really hot to get those dew points up. And that's why storms didn't fire through the scenic rim this afternoon when some forecasts suggested that they would. 26 mil in Warwick, 85 kilometre an hour wind gusts. Far out. Really picking up there. Let's go and have a look at our radar imagery around the Brisbane region. Ethan, thank you for the donation. Yeah, gusts up or into the 50s now around Warwick. Far out. Well, last time I saw such a widespread expanse of maxed out blues on the Doppler radar was on Monday the 24th of November. been a while, that's for sure. Well, I mean, it hasn't been a while, it's only been a couple of days, but just goes to show that this storm is strong. Those very strong winds are now beginning to make it up towards Beenleigh as well, so in the next 10 minutes it's going to get quite windy through parts of the Logan City, particularly on the southern side of the Logan City. Again, just would like to stress to all of the new viewers watching, first of all, welcome and consider subscribing. Second of all, the hail risk is pretty minimal right now. If hail is falling, which it is in some of these cells, we're talking about 1 to 2 centimetres in diameter, nothing bigger than 3 centimetres and nothing of the giant hail variety. Coomera, 100 km/h gusts. Yeah, on the northern side of this storm, it's getting quite gusty. And through the Gold Coast, right down to the New South Wales-Queensland border, it is really, really gusty. Intense rainfall in Kyogle, 40 millimetres in 20 minutes. Wow. Drift Library, those suggestions get even more diabolical. This is not hang gliding weather at all. And it looks like that precipitation is beginning to really pick up onto the southern side of the Gold Coast now actually as well. Lots of lightning. We're seeing a channel of this lightning activity through the southern areas of the Gold Coast. Burleigh Heads is right here. Mermaid Waters down here or up here. Lots of lightning in the vicinity of these locations. So let us know on the Gold Coast, what is it like? It would be absolutely crazy. Thank you very much, Taylor, for your kind words. You could go outside and view it and not have the risk of hail or anything like that. I wouldn't really recommend it at all. Just enjoy it from a bit of distance from the window, or enjoy it from a webcam or something, but you're not going to be smashed in the face by hailstones. So the suit of armour is kind of unnecessary, but I wouldn't recommend going outside. Lightning strikes within 200 metres of you every 10 seconds. Wow, so there is a lot of lightning around. These circles are just radar glitches, again, nothing to be worried about. Power outage at Benora. I've got the Energex website up on my second screen, and I'll keep an eye on that, and I'll let you know what we're looking at in terms of power outages as well. Heavy rain in Robina. Let's see, what do we have in terms of our broader severe thunderstorm risk here? It's still just for the southeast coast. So far, in the northeast of New South Wales, our highest rainfall accumulations, 54 millimetres at both Mullumbimby Creek and Gulmanga. And that's sort of the stuff that we're expecting tonight through southeast Queensland, is those rainfall accumulations between 50 to 70 millimetres or so on the higher end of things. Oh, if you got some lightning, send it through over on Facebook. I've got a public group as well. Feel free to send that through. Spitting in Coomera. I imagine it's about to get getting really windy in the Coomera area right now as well. 50 miles per hour, that translates to gusts about at 90-ish kilometres an hour. 85 to 90-ish kilometres an hour along the Gold Coast and south along the Gold Coast. Camera flash going off every 10 seconds, wow. That's an excellent point. Trampolines and other loose items in the background that should be tied down ahead of this thunderstorm. This line's really beginning to mature out towards the west as well, around the Warwick area. Likely to see something pretty nice move through Warwick. Brisbane, we'll be talking about this risk increasing in about 30 minutes to 45 minutes or so. 30 millimetres in 25 minutes at Tweed. That is quite a lot of rainfall coming through. Thank you to everybody for all of the kind words as well in the chat. I really do appreciate it. These are some decent squalls. Yeah, for Kyogle, this is done and dusted. There are a couple of thunderstorms around here and there, but the really severe stuff for Kyogle is done and dusted. 10mm in Southport in 10 minutes. Probably a little bit more than that, I would say. Yeah, well, this is all beginning to merge up now. We're really beginning to see these thunderstorms develop again in the same way that the forecast was suggesting. Really good to see. And then this is going to go right into Warwick. Warwick in about 15 minutes. Watch out very, very closely. Keep close tabs on this situation because it's going to get quite interesting in Warwick. It's going to get very interesting in Warwick very soon. No wind in Canungra. It'd be the calm before the storm, I'd imagine. Unless you're already on the backside of this storm. I just got to remember whereabouts Canungra is. You'd already be on the backside of that storm system. You've got a separate cell out here around the Rathdowney area that's coming up towards Canungra. That was a terrible, terrible effort in an arrow. So it's likely to get windy again there, but for Tambourine Mountain and Canungra, the wind should be calming down temporarily. A bit like being in the eye of a cyclone, it's going to calm down before it really does pick up once again. So keep that in mind. Yeah, there's not much in the way of power outages just yet. Good to see. Still an extremely lightning active storm. There is so much lightning going on through this storm, this Gold Coast cell. Extremely lightning active. It's a healthy thunderstorm as well. It's a really, really healthy thunderstorm. And of course we still have our Warwick storm to be keeping close tabs on as well. This one's also... CG is... Oh, is it CG or sheet? Mostly sheet lightning we've been hearing. Massive strikes, yeah. Yeah, I really cannot wait to see the photos of this thunderstorm. These are powerful, powerful lightning strikes that are coming through. So yeah, let us know what the lightning is like. And of course, if you capture photos, first of all, well done. Second of all, send them through to our public group on Facebook. Thank you, Sonic. Windy in Boona. It really, really would be. I mean, as these storms continue to roll in, that gust front is about to impact the Boona area, so winds will already be approaching 100 kilometers an hour plus around Boona, and some solid wind gusts around the Warwick area as well that are pushing out towards the east as well. Gympie, probably nothing tonight. I really don't think there's going to be much in the Gympie area. Ipswich, they're likely to get kind of the fragmented part of this thunderstorm here. A little bit hard to tell because we've got these cells that are moving up towards the northeast, and then these ones here which are moving just due east. And then these cells which are trying to jog up towards the north. In all honesty, it looks like Ipswich may dodge this. But it's still a little bit early to say for sure. And now it's kind of a waiting game. We had a lot of developments in the last hour or so, but for Brisbane, it's kind of just a watch and wait type situation. Wind picking up in Willowvale towards the north of Warwick as that storm begins to roll through. Warwick in about 20 minutes, I would say. Wow. They will likely be a bit weaker by the time they get up towards the Brisbane CBD. Beenleigh should get a good slap, and we're beginning to see the wind gusts really pick up around the Beenleigh area as well. But like we said, these thunderstorms are now sliding out into the Pacific Ocean, so it's going to get quite windy in Beenleigh, but I don't actually think this thunderstorm's going to make it up into Beenleigh. Or by extension, Logan City. We're going to be waiting for all of this stuff here to roll up into the Logan City area. Nothing behind this one. Once this is done, it is all done. A couple of good thunderstorms still around the Stanthorpe area along the Queensland-New South Wales border. No, I wouldn't be going jogging on Hope Island, not at this time. Let's leave it for tonight, go tomorrow. Oh, is it raining in Ipswich already? Oh yeah, we are. We're seeing a little bit of this light stuff blow over into the Ipswich area, which is kind of under the anvil of a couple of these thunderstorms here. A few lightning strikes as well. This Warwick cell's really developing up as well. Whilst Warwick is, we can confirm that Warwick's going to get slapped by part of this thunderstorm. It could move just towards the north of Warwick, but they're still likely to see a significant hit. This might be our Ipswich storm finally beginning to develop. Yeah, I do believe Tamborine Mountain is going to miss out on the worst of this. Heavy rain in Clifton. Yes, it would be raining quite hard there right now as that squall line moves through. But I'd say after about 20 minutes, Clifton will be done and dusted. Tomorrow's an interesting day. I'm not 100% sure what to make of tomorrow. It's definitely one that I want to see the convective modelling for tomorrow morning. But as we push things out, it looks like maybe 1 or 2 thunderstorms around Kingaroy. But yeah, I think tomorrow is going to be a nothing burger for severe thunderstorms, and really minimal on the thunderstorm side by extension as well. Bit of wind in Coomera now. Yeah, there'd be a lot. There's lots of lightning in these storms. And then this is for Tweed Heads. So must have got a lightning strike when that thunderstorm actually rolled on through on camera. They actually got a lightning strike here because it's just illuminated like crazy. And this is another one here. 9 minutes ago, you can see lightning is so constant and so frequent that they're capturing the lightning strikes on the still images of the webcams. Looks like we have a bit of flash flooding here outside of Canungra. Water now over the road. Ducks are really enjoying that. Well, water getting up to the road, actually. I know that floods all the time just outside of Canungra, but yeah, take it easy on the roads tonight. There will be a bit of flash flooding around, and I imagine Coolangatta, if we can get any reports in the Coolangatta area, let us know how much rainfall we've had. Yeah, I'm going to say Beanley is going to miss this. I mean, it's kind of sliding off now into the Pacific Ocean. I think I want one more radar frame before I call it for sure for the Logan City area. This cell here outside of Mugera should go into the Logan City area unless this one slides as well. But I would say for now, Logan City probably going to be on the side of missing out on this nasty stuff. Yeah, looking good. These storms still looking pretty solid, that's for sure. And just flicking things back to our radar scope radar imagery here. Winds have calmed down a little bit onto the Gold Coast around Coolangatta. Tweed Head's still blowing quite hard at about 80 kilometres an hour or so. Still some solid wind gusts as well around the Mugera cell. So that's going to be one that we need to be watching quite closely. And the winds are still strong as well around Warwick, but not as crazy strong. Toowoomba has missed the worst of this, but we do have all of this through here. In fact, if we actually go and look at the Toowoomba radar, that will give us a better picture of what we're actually going to be expecting. Yeah, Toowoomba in... Oh, there are some strong winds, and that's going to go right into the Toowoomba area. Yeah, I would say for Toowoomba, we're probably going to be looking at about, at a guess, 20 minutes or so. Lismore was really bad. They got smashed, they did, with very heavy rainfall. But I'd imagine your family's just without power right now or busy, you know, mopping up a little bit. There will likely be some flash flooding in and around the Lismore area. We're not talking about the thunderstorms that we had on Monday the 24th of December though, so there's no real comparison there. But still, definitely some strong thunderstorm activity around Lismore. Ooh, has bomb updated. Let's have a quick squiz. They've dropped the severe thunderstorm risk. Really? I don't know what to make of that, because this thunderstorm here in the Gold Coast is still very much severe. We're talking about heavy rainfall. Coolangatta, we've had confirmed powerful wind gusts. And none of these thunderstorms have been labelled as severe. I mean, I kind of get the Beaudesert cells and the fact that these are now moving out into the ocean. The risk is reducing. I can't make sense of that. That's crazy. Let us know what it is like, though, on the Gold Coast. Beanley and Logan are going to miss out on this initial round, but in an hour it could all come back. Alright, that's... Yeah, and the fact that people are losing power left, right and centre, I mean, this kind of warrants severe thunderstorms, don't you reckon? Yeah, it's not... if we're drawing comparisons to storms that we've had so far this year, this is a child in comparison to it. It's really, really weak. And the worst of it is heading out to sea, but we're still talking about some very strong wind gusts along the Gold Coast. I mean, we have... we've got confirmed radar-indicated wind gusts in excess of 100 kilometres an hour. And the fact that there's power outages left, right and centre makes these thunderstorms severe. We've also got some good cells here into the north of New South Wales still, towards the west of Urbanville. Okay, good to hear that it is weakening off though. A lot of people now coming in to confirm that it is now on the weaker side. It's a lot weaker than what we had earlier. Great to hear. We've got confirmed power outages in, I believe, Burleigh Heads. I think that's Parkwood as well. Alright, so now we're going to be playing at the game of watch and wait for the next round of severe thunderstorms to develop. No, Parkwood and Burleigh Heads are chalk and cheese. Parkwood's up here, Burleigh Heads down here. Yeah, so the risk is not dangerous for southeast Queensland. We're not talking about a high-end severe thunderstorm outbreak through southeast Queensland. Getting reports from Moonlight that Clifton is awesome. Yeah, so we've still got a couple of strong cells here around the Warwick area. In fact, Warwick in about 5 minutes. It's a good cell that's going to be rolling through there. Non-severe though. The severe stuff is further south over the border ranges, which is moving out towards Bonnelbow and Urbanville. Yeah, and then eventually off towards Piano. Lockyer Valley, non-severe. Winds in Coomera just got mental. How strong are we estimating? Again, like radar indicated is telling me 70k sustained. We're probably talking about getting close to 90 kilometres an hour or so. Yeah, Lismore got smashed, they did. Burleigh Heads, Burleigh Waters, power outage. Arundel, Coombaba, Parkwood, and Oxenford with our power outages right now. Yes, this is now moving north up towards Brisbane. Logan's going to miss out on this initial round. Oh, I'd recommend Windy Premium to anyone. I mean, even if you had not $1 to spare, Windy Premium is worth it to everyone. Especially if you want to make your own localized forecasts, Windy Premium is just... it's a necessity, it is, for anyone that is making their own weather forecasts. If you're happy to let me do them for you, then you probably don't need it. You can get away with it. Or without it, but Yeah, windy premium is worth every penny. Boona, kind of in the middle of things, looking like it's going to get pretty windy in the Boona area, but only some strong wind gusts. Yeah, these cells are weakening off actually out around the Warwick area, which is good. They really blew up and now they're beginning to weaken off. Surface is weakening down. Yes, this stuff here is going to move up into the Brisbane area. Yeah, so all of this is going to dodge Logan. We're seeing some separate cells now develop around the Jimboomba area. A lot of this is kind of developing on a line here, but this all appears to be moving down into a southeasterly direction, which could mean that the Gold Coast gets round 2, but all of that just looks to dodge the Logan City area. That's interesting. These thunderstorms are moving in a very erratic motion as well. They're not really following what we would expect given the lower level jet stream and where it should be blowing these thunderstorms. Bribie Island will miss. Logan will also miss out on the severe stuff. Bribie will miss out on pretty much everything that's worth mentioning. I'm keen to know how strong it is at Warwick right now. If you've got anyone from Warwick, let us know what the winds and the rain is in the Warwick area. I think Toowoomba is going to get this little cell here, so there should be some good lightning in and around the Toowoomba area. Is Coolangatta out of power? It could be, just considering how strong this cell was that blew through the Coolangatta area. Pretty tame in Warwick, alright, good to know. Southport 25 mil, imagine that all fell in about 15 minutes. Tamborine Mountain weakening off now, could be more thunderstorms though. Logan, big raindrops. Is there something building out in the west of the Sunshine Coast? Oh, well out here, nah, that will miss the Sunshine Coast pretty much completely. Yeah, round 2. There's still a bunch of thunderstorms out here, and they're all moving off in this direction here, so we're likely to see, yeah, another round for the Gold Coast. It's possible that we'll see another round for the Gold Coast, I should say. It should be anything nuts, though, in the Gold Coast area. Of course, I have to ask, if you are brand new to the channel, please do consider subscribing. Be much appreciated. Toowoomba in approximately 15 minutes or so. Shouldn't be anything too nuts in the Toowoomba area though. Still looking very healthy. I mean, this cluster of storms, it might be weaker, but it's still rather healthy. And yeah, I'd be inclined to say that it is of the non-severe variety. I definitely believe that it is of the non-severe variety, but it still is, you know, strong and still very much worth the airtime. So make sure you do keep on top of the situation. Those Warwick storms are finally beginning to get a little bit of direction to them as well, so they're going to be moving out into the Warwick area momentarily. And I imagine right now would be calm before the storm for the Warwick area. Likely calm before the storm. Yeah, the raindrops are big in this storm. Huge lightning on the Gold Coast kicking out at the Mermaid Beach area over the ocean. Yeah, this cell is still producing some good lightning out into the ocean, but you can see it's dropped off on its lightning frequency, so it should be beginning to weaken off a little bit. This cell is losing its bite as it heads out into the Pacific Ocean, which is good news. Still got some good bite on these cells though, out into the Warwick area. Calm before the storm in Ipswich. Yeah, storm's still probably about 45 minutes away for Ipswich though. Unless it develops through here, which is possible. This will be a bit of an area to watch actually, just towards the west of Ipswich shortly. Wind's picking up in Laidley. I think it is heading towards Laidley. Actually, I do believe that it is heading towards Laidley. And it is growing. It's very much growing. Yeah, all the storms should be completely done by midnight, I would say. I hope so, because I don't really want to be streaming out to about midnight. Logan getting some good wind, yeah. It seems like there is now a cluster of storms developing here just outside of Greenbank and Logan. Weaker storms of the weaker variety, but they'll eventually roll into the Logan area or just towards the south, towards the north of Coomera, and then out to about Macleay Island and Russell Island. Yeah, around the Ormeau area. But I don't really expect there to be anything nuts around the Logan area. I would actually be surprised if we saw severe thunderstorms around Logan. No way the storms are forecast midnight to 6 AM. A couple of good storms moving up into the Cecil Plains area as well. In fact, this Toowoomba cell, this might be one to watch as well. Anyone from Toowoomba, let us know what it's like. But this cell here is beginning to track up towards Toowoomba. In fact, we're seeing this lightning here now begin to build into the southern areas of Toowoomba. And yeah, I'd say in about 20, maybe 25 minutes or so for Toowoomba, a potentially severe thunderstorm coming through. No, the largest hail we've seen today is probably around the 5 centimetre size. Nowhere near 14 centimetres at all. All of this has missed the Upper Coomera area. It's still safe to be outside in Brisbane for sure, but we're not, probably not for much longer, maybe about an hour or so until the thunderstorms do get into the Brisbane area. Well, these thunderstorms should be gone by, I'm going to say probably about 11:30 or so from Queensland. They should be pretty much all done and dusted. Yeah, so that was for Monday's storms that came through on Monday, the 24th of November. They were extremely high end, they were. Now, Brisbane should be calm and collected right now. No lightning, no thunder. I imagine it's not even that windy in Brisbane either. Caboolture, nothing severe. Still a pretty healthy setup right now. Big fella, thank you very, very much for your kind words. And yeah, I can't wait to be making these informative videos in the off season. Power out in Parkwood. Good to know. Rain starting in West Ipswich. Whereabouts does it not feel like storm weather? Yeah, I believe kind of anywhere north of this line here, the chance of severe thunderstorms is very minimal. They'll be powerful, but they're very, very minimal in terms of the risk. It's going to feel like every single other summer storm into the Brisbane area. It's really not going to be too much through Brisbane. So the severe risk is winding back. Yeah. And even for the Gold Coast, really beginning to weaken off as well. I mean, I know we still have some good rainfall in and around the Gold Coast. Yeah, but it is now really beginning to wind back. That's good to see. And even the winds as well are beginning to properly wind back around the Gold Coast too. Definitely below severe thresholds now. Apparently there's earthquake reports coming out of Logan City. Our highest precipitation is 65 decibels here just outside of Mugera. That's likely got a bit of hail, and there is some rotation on the radar imagery. But apart from that, this is all very much garden variety now through southeast Queensland. Yeah, it is a humid one, but I don't think it's humid enough. If we actually have a look at our dew points, which is a key metric for predicting severe thunderstorm potential, Greenbank below 20, Brisbane well below 20. Yeah, these dew points are just not high enough to get severe thunderstorms off the ground. We need dew points above 22, and right now they're at about 20-ish at best. Geez, Warwick has had some good rainfall. 38 millimetres at Warwick, and it is still pouring. We knew they'd be high precipitation, but that is a lot of rainfall. Getting a lot of reports of Taroom. Yeah, that's a good little thunderstorm there around the Taroom area. Probably dropping large hail. I don't think it'd be dropping giant hailstones. What does our warning say? Yeah, large hailstones. But no warning for it. Our severe thunderstorm is out here, and there's no warning for Taroom. Well, that's another blunder. I mean, have a look at this thunderstorm up here. Not even severe warned. I find it hard to believe that this is not dropping large hailstones. Just considering the reflectivity, the amount of lightning, and also the rotation in it. Weakening off still, but for Taroom, hunker down. And I'd probably recommend car inside as well. Oh, okay. There is no quakes, just a troll. I apologise for that. And our southeast Queensland threat is still there, but winding back as well, which is good to see. Warwick, the holy grail of rainfall is about to come through. Keep in mind, Warwick down here has had 38 millimetres so far, and then this is the next round. That's going to roll straight through Warwick. We'll be looking at a further 20 millimetres plus, I would say. Good to know. A couple of reports now in the chat of Lismore and people that families have known in the Lismore area being unresponsive. That could be a very big concern after severe thunderstorms. But it's good to know that it was just a power outage, so happy to see that. Tweed Heads got belted. We're definitely looking at winds approaching 120 kilometres an hour in Tweed Heads. Byron Bay got 120 kilometre an hour winds as well, and they didn't even look like they got the absolute worst of it, so Tweed Heads likely got 120 kilometre an hour winds. Definitely saw some very heavy rainfall as well. I believe Tweed Heads is about 30 mil in the gauge as well, just off my guess looking at the radar. Picking back up now in the Warwick area, I can imagine. Warwick is a cell that we need to be watching, and that is another example of a strong storm that's moving through Warwick. Warwick's really copped the rough end of the stick. Chris McFerrin from Southeast Queensland Storm Photography or Weather Photography, top bloke, been talking to him about some of the storms that have came through the Warwick area, and he says constantly, well, he hasn't said constantly that they've been smashed, but they've had some really strong storms in the Warwick area so far this storm season, including a brute about 2 weeks ago off the top of my head. Shantas, thank you very much. From the Gold Coast, much appreciated. Picking back up in the southern Moreton Bay Islands, yeah, the gusts from these storms are about to roll on through. All upscaling. It looks like another round of this storm is beginning to develop here along this line. It'll be interesting to see what this one does shortly. Very, very good. Surely they've updated this to include Taroom. That's wild that they haven't included Taroom. Everything is okay in Lismore. How much in the way of flash flooding is there, if there is any? Lismore can handle a bit of rainfall. They can handle 50 mil in 30 minutes. No dramas. Anything more generally causes some flooding concerns, but I would imagine Lismore definitely escaped the worst of it. The worst of it went towards the west of Lismore. Second wave of these storms, it's still a bit of a coin toss as to whether or not we're going to get a second wave, particularly because one of the metrics that I use when I'm looking at severe thunderstorm development is how frequent the lightning is. And there's some good lightning out here around the Boona area moving into the scenic rim, but that's rolling more or less towards the north. So that should miss the Gold Coast. If anything, that's going to go for Logan. And everything in the line of the Gold Coast is pretty weak, all things considered. Really not a concern. So I don't think the Gold Coast is going to see anything too crazy. Do the Perth storms get like this? Nah. I honestly cannot remember a storm that's produced large hail in the Perth area. I know one did back in 2011. I can't remember that one. But yeah, Perth storms are sad in comparison to the southeast Queensland ones. Don't get me wrong, I'm very, very grateful we don't get storms like you guys. Yeah, balmy army tears falling across southeast Queensland. This is what we can think of this. Especially some of these bigger raindrops now developing into the southern suburbs of Brisbane. These are the balmy army tears that are coming down. Not looking good for them, that's for sure. This was all good. Who's next in the firing line? Well, Warwick initially is probably going to be the worst impacted in the next 10 minutes. And then it's going to be Toowoomba. We've got a nice line now developing up around the Toowoomba area. That one's going to pack a bit of a punch for Toowoomba. Definitely looking at some strong wind gusts at the very least for Toowoomba. And potentially some heavy rainfall as well. These storms haven't even moved into the Brisbane area just yet. And keep in mind, the forecasters never suggested severe storms into Brisbane. So unless Brisbane remains the whole day dry, yeah, this is not going to be a bust. No one should be scared for Brisbane. And these thunderstorms, these are garden variety through southeast Queensland. Nothing in comparison to November 24th, no. Not a fair comparison. Same thing with Christmas 2023, not a fair comparison at all. Heavy rain and thunder now in Warwick. That's going to continue to pick up as well in the next couple of minutes. But yeah, Warwick and Toowoomba, she's a building, that's for sure. Now all heading out offshore from the Gold Coast. It's really beginning to wind back now for the Gold Coast, and that should be it for Goldie tonight. Even this cell here, which is developing in this area just outside of Bow Desert, that should slide north of the Gold Coast. Yes, I believe that there was a tornado. We were tracking it live actually on November 24th, rolling up into the Tin Can Bay area. Yes, there was definitely a tornado. Just looking at the damage, quintessential tornado. It's not fair to pull comparisons between supercell storms and squalls with embedded supercells, so I'm going to have to leave that question there. No more hail. In fact, yeah, we've just got the confirmation there. Just rain in Warwick, no bad winds or hail. That's also really handy to know that there's no more dangerous wind gusts around. Actually, let's go and check that on the Doppler radar here. Yeah, it's just a rain threat now. Lovely. Even the winds around the Gold Coast where that storm was really, really windy. I know we're still going to have a few locations that are going to blow gups out later tonight. That's good to know though. The wind threat now really beginning to wind down. 43 mil at Warwick. That's good. Logan, it depends on what you're expecting. I mean, it's holding up as the forecast suggested. Just a couple of weak thunderstorms into the Logan area. I imagine it's rumbling a little bit right now around Logan. But yeah, a few weak cells moving through. a couple of fresh wind gusts getting up towards the strong area, but yeah, nothing crazy at all. Same deal with Brisbane. Not a nothing burger, I mean, because it's not clear skies, but it is going to be quintessential late night storm. Nothing crazy is expected. Such a show of lightning towards the east of Southport. Anyone on the Gold Coast, look out towards your east, because it'd be very, very impressive indeed. I can guarantee that. Howling in Laidley, wow. I didn't really expect these winds to be going nuts right now. Our strongest wind gusts should be about 60 to 70 kilometres an hour or so, which is not really that strong, particularly compared to the threat that we had earlier today. These wind gusts are now really winding back, which is good. Crazy lightning on the Gold Coast. Yeah, so many reports coming through from this light show that the Gold Coast is getting. And Toowoomba, what is it like right now? I imagine it's raining or beginning to rain quite good into some of the western suburbs of Toowoomba. No hail. No hail today. Well, there has been hail today, but no hail from this point onwards. And if there is, it's going to be below a centimetre in diameter. How many people without power? I believe about 10,000, but I will have to... about 6,000. Not that much. Gusts to 50 to 60 kilometres an hour in Ipswich's inner west. I think that is pretty much as bad as it's going to be from now. Actually, we can check that. I don't believe BOM are expecting severe thunderstorms to develop again. Remains possible. So, generally speaking, when the BOM says possible, that's not really going to happen. And that's not bagging the BOM. Possible is weak wording, and BOM generally are quite conservative with what they word. So possible tells me that severe storms could pop up, but really not expected to be anything too wild or crazy. Quantum I second at that message. Check back in on radar scope. Yeah, our biggest reflectivity readings are about 55-ish decibels, getting close to 60 around Toowoomba. But we're not talking about anything in the way of crazy winds. Even Ipswich, we've got some pretty good wind gusts now onto the northern side of this thunderstorm. Let's check back in on our Toowoomba radar, actually. That'll give us a good idea. Yeah. So that squall line has gusts of about 70 kilometres an hour or so. Not a major concern, that's for sure. And just for fun, let's have a look at our Taroom radar on that storm. Well, the supercell that's rolling around that has not been given a severe thunderstorm tag. These two storms here, one out towards the west of Injune and this one here that's moving up towards the Taroom area, they have been given no warning. There's no warning on these thunderstorms here, but confirmed large hailstones, confirmed damaging wind gusts. Interesting. And a little bit disappointing for those around Taroom. Still very much a lot of rainfall through the north of New South Wales. It doesn't look like it's going to be easing off anytime soon as well. Thank you very much to everybody that has subscribed from this stream as well. It's massively appreciated. I really am grateful for all of the support. You guys have no idea how much it does mean. Starting to rain in Toowoomba. Let us know how it goes. It's going to get quite good in Toowoomba. Actually, let's go and have a look at our Toowoomba radar. Little bit of heavy rainfall in this Toowoomba cell, but I wouldn't, yeah, low 50 decibel readings is pretty lackluster. It'll still roll through Toowoomba, and the strongest part will likely move into the immediate northern suburbs of Toowoomba, up to about Wilsonton Heights, in that general area. Gusty. Good thing that it's gusty and not crazy. What are we looking at here? 30 to 40 miles per hour. So gusts up around 70 to 80 kilometers an hour. Really not severe, but knocking on the door of severe, but yeah, nothing crazy. We do have some good rotation down here, though. What's our correlation coefficient? Oh, very weak. Okay, what that basically means is, because I know correlation coefficient, blah, 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 is gobbledygook to some. It's something that I look for serious rotational mesocyclones. And I thought that this was a suspect area around Clifton where we might be looking at a mesocyclone, but yeah, nothing crazy there. Warwick, pretty weak, all things considered. Few strongish cells moving around Mugera and Aratula. But yeah, mainly or predominantly a rainfall threat in here. A further 30 millimeters is possible as this storm tracks up towards Brisbane. But yeah, by the time it gets towards Brisbane, it's going to be pretty disappointing. Or pretty lackluster, that's for sure. Now, you can switch off now if you're in Brisbane and expecting severe thunderstorms. This is not going to be severe by the time it gets to Brisbane. I'm mainly just tracking this because I enjoy running this live coverage. But if I was tracking this for a severe thunderstorm warning, I wouldn't be live right now. This is a very limited risk around Brisbane. Gladstone's clear, yes. Lightning show into Toowoomba, great. Great. Brisbane is going to get some rain and some wind, but nothing crazy. Coolangatta, the winds have subsided, but yeah, the rainfall will still be pouring down. Let's go and see if we can get a bit of a rainfall update, actually, through Brisbane. 28 mil here at Coolangatta. That's got to be wrong. So that updated 10 minutes ago. 28 mil. That's pretty disappointing considering the magnitude of rainfall coming down there. I would have thought Coolangatta would have had more. Any personal weather stations around the Miami or the Gold Coast area, Burleigh Heads, Coolangatta, Gold Coast Airport, that sort of area, let me know. How much rainfall have you had? I know a lot of it would have blown away from the rain gauges when this thunderstorm initially came through. But I'd still be keen to see. Toowoomba's still looking pretty good. 37k winds, gusting at a rough guess. We'd probably be looking at gusts here approaching 50k's an hour. Again, really nothing too crazy. What's it like in Toowoomba? Ipswich is pretty much on the weaker side. Still a good couple of gusts, particularly just towards the south of Ipswich. Moderate rain on the Western Downs, just 25k's from Toowoomba. Great lightning. Excellent. Still a good show around the Warwick area. That's definitely where the most severe stuff is happening right now. Some of this lightning is beginning to pull back a little bit. We're still seeing some good lightning in and around Boona. And this is going to be an area that I want to watch closely over the next hour or so. All of it's heading, due east again. This may be round 2 for the Gold Coast. Southport smashed for about 20 minutes, 30 mil or so in that time. Yeah, right. Toowoomba's already starting to ease. It hasn't even hit Toowoomba yet based off the current radar scans, but I hope that it is. Aussie Max Velocity. Oh, Max Velocity is that American guy that basically does the same as what I do. Should get in contact with him. Rain has petered off, just lightning and rumbling thunder. Yeah, generally speaking, when you start to hear those rumbling thunder, it's very much on the weaker side. At least what I've found. Oh, I shouldn't have said round 2, because it is going to be a lot weaker than round 1, that's for sure. But yeah, the precipitation also looks to be weakening off a little bit. You know what, it might actually be like our last stream, where we just get bubbling thunderstorms for hours, and I can't turn off the coverage. I hope that's not the case. Because to have an ongoing severe thunderstorm risk throughout the night would be a little bit annoying. What's this one? This is Brizzy, back to Toowoomba. Yeah, reflectivity is not suggesting anything too crazy. Brizzy's still looking good though. Oh, also, if we can get some feedback on the audio quality of this stream as well. let me know. I know audio's been a #1 complaint here on the channel. Working on it. I'm not technically minded, and the microphone situation is making my head explode. So any advice, flick me a message. But yeah, just using the new displays audio. That's great. I would like a bit of feedback on it. Great, excellent. Lots and lots of lightning reports. I haven't done any soundproofing yet. I'm trying to get some soundproofing stuff sorted. But yeah, if anyone's an audio expert, feel free to reach out, hit me up. A bit of a chat about it. Yeah, so all passing towards the south of Logan actually right now. You can see the rain. There's a bit of wind that's going to push into Logan pretty soon, so it's probably going to get a bit gusty soon. But I don't really think anything too crazy is going to roll into the Logan City area. No reason to be freaking out at all. No reason. I'm just using the microphone off the studio display. Noosa, nothing. Let's go and flick it back to the forecast right now. I believe, yeah, it's kind of keeping up with the forecast a little bit. A bit aggressive for Brisbane because a lot of these storms have slid out into the Pacific Ocean. Our convective modelling here suggested, yes, by this time it's going to be pulling apart and weakening off. Still a couple of strong cells here and there around the Warwick area. Wow, the convective forecast modelling always amazes me, it does. So, yeah, now the Gold Coast forecast beginning to weaken off there. We'll still see a few strong cells move through the Wivenhoe outlook. They should dodge Ipswich, though, and Brisbane will be left in that drier corridor. So Brisbane won't actually get much later tonight, which is good. Hitting your eyes like a welder. Far out, must be some good lightning, that's for sure. Yeah, Brisbane might thread the needle between these storms, to be honest, because we're seeing these in two parts. Our Toowoomba cell here is breaking up and going north, and then all of this stuff here is going to slide back over to the Gold Coast area, maybe a little bit further north. So Upper Coomera, some of the Moreton Bay Islands area, Stradbroke Island, for example. But yeah, Brisbane could actually thread the needle between these cells, which is good. We want Brisbane to miss out on it. It'd be good to see if Brisbane does miss out on it. Lightning is impressive towards the west of Ipswich. Again, photos, videos, send them in. Would love to see them all. Yeah, still looking pretty decent, these storms. It's a lot weaker than what we were talking about just even an hour ago, but still holding together quite nicely. A lot of lightning still in this Clifton cell here. Warwick, the threat is now winding back actually, and this is a place that I wanted to see the threat wind back because Warwick has they've really copped the rough end of the stick today. Especially on the rainfall side. Yeah, 46 mil in Warwick. It should begin to wind back now. And just checking back in on 29 mil in Coolangatta. Should be some good rainfall rolling in around the Bow Desert area right now, actually. Really looks like it's going to pick up. Thank you very much for the donation towards the microphone. I really appreciate that. But our 1 hour rainfall accumulations on storm setups like this can actually be pretty accurate. There's definitely still some good falls around the Boona and the Bow Desert area. That will be a place to watch. Winds are really winding back though. 50 k's tops on the Gold Coast. Lost power in Oxenford, right. A lot of reports of loss of power around the Parkwood and Oxenford area. Still some good winds here outside of Millmerran. And we've still got some strong winds here pushing into the Lockyer Valley now. There's no real risk to anyone, though, from these thunderstorms, which is good. But I would still say for Thornton, Townsend, Mulgoey, and then eventually Harrisville, and for locations south of Harrisville down to Boonah, this cell here, which is moving through, this has got confirmed strong to damaging wind gusts between 70 to 90 kilometres an hour. Now, whilst that isn't really dangerous in itself, and it's very much garden variety for this time of the year through southeast Queensland, it still could warrant moving the car inside, getting off the road, getting inside and staying out of harm's way, because you just never know with these thunderstorms. Yeah, power outage update would be excellent right about now. Gaddon, strong winds. There is a section of this thunderstorm here just towards the north of this line that's rolling into the Beaudesert area. We've got winds between, or radar confirmed winds between 50 to 70 kilometres an hour. It's just south of the Brisbane River, including Ipswich. And then we've still got some strong wind gusts through here approaching 90 kilometres an hour. Plus, Toowoomba, it's all slid just towards the north. Highfields, I'd be interested in what's going on in the Highfields area, to be honest. That light show is still going on, but the Gold Coast, it should begin to wind down pretty soon. I use this quite loosely, but round 2 incoming for the Gold Coast. What I mean by round 2 is lightning, a bit of rainfall, and a bit of wind. Nothing severe, nothing crazy. You reckon the Clifton cell's moving towards Brisbane? Kinda. Yeah, just looking at it, that's kind of got a bit of a beeline for Ipswich and then eventually for Brisbane. And that's generally the motion that these storms do take. I mean, we're looking at this Toowoomba one moving up towards the north-northeast, and then these ones towards the direct east, and even a few of these down to the east-southeast. So it makes sense that Clifton one is moving up towards the northeast. Yeah, okay, this might be one to watch eventually for Ipswich. I still want a few more radar frames to really confirm if it is actually going to go for the Brisbane area, but for now, still a storm that is worth airtime and one that we want to be watching quite closely. What do we have in terms of webcam footage? Now, this is Ipswich. This is looking up into the sky. That is a dark, dark, dark picture. Bit of mammatus cloud activity as well. Bit of shelf cloud activity too, maybe. Interesting. Looking good, lots of rainfall as well. And that's good because southeast Queensland has actually struggled for rainfall a little bit so far this storm season, or pockets of it have, so yeah. Yeah, I'm going to be watching this Clifton one quite closely. Do we have an update on bomb? Nothing just yet. The next warning is due in about 15 minutes. And just to update on the forecast, this is at 8:55 PM, so just a few minutes ago. Thunderstorm likely, bit of shower activity, a bit of wind. Yeah, really not much for Brisbane, that's for sure. Okay, here we go. Power outage updates here. Rathdoney, Running Creek, Arundel, Coomba and Parkwood, Mornsland, Oxenford. I've butchered all of those pronunciations, so I apologise in advance, but your power is out. Burleigh Heads and Burleigh Waters also out. Yeah, Clifton, this cell here. I'm calling it the Clifton cell, but it's moved over Clifton and it's no longer a threat to Clifton. Warwick and Clifton in the all clear. Toowoomba about 10 minutes in the all clear. Or until you're in the all clear for Toowoomba. Sunshine Coast is also in the all clear for severe thunderstorms. HSV, good to see you, mate. Thank you for your generous donation and all of your generous contributions as well. What's that light show looking like on the Gold Coast? It looks like it's beginning to wind back now. Rainfall still going, but definitely winding back. Gatton Thunder, bit of rainfall. Yeah, it's moving through quite quickly, this storm here, just the south of Gatton. It's actually probably one of the fastest moving ones that we've got right now, and really developing up quite nicely too. Honestly, I think this might actually slide into the Ivanhoe outlook. That actually matches up perfectly with our convective forecast modelling. So the storm itself is located about here, and if we cross-reference that with our convective forecast modelling, yeah, absolutely nailed. That's crazy. And the axis has that moving into the Ivanhoe outlook. So let's go and see how accurate that is in the next hour or so. Yeah, I genuinely think that this might go north of Brisbane. Hope so. Because, yeah, it's running towards the north now, and just considering how it's moving, it looks like it is actually going to run right up into the Ivanhoe. So that will dodge Ipswich and all of the Ipswich locations, including those north and south of Ipswich. And I believe the axis convective. The axis convective is a super powerful forecast model, and it has nailed today. It's absolutely nailed it. Which is very, very good to see. It gives me great confidence going into the remainder of storm season. Still a cell to watch, but definitely not a massive threat right now, that's for sure. Wow. No thunder west of Brisbane yet? No, it wouldn't be. It's still a long way away from Brisbane. Bit of scattered thunder and storm activity around Boona, but pretty disappointing all things considered. Heavy rain in Logan, yeah. But again, nothing too severe falling around there. And we should have an update on our severe thunderstorm situation. If not now, then definitely in the next 5 minutes or so. BOM do generally get to them about 5 minutes before they're due. I'll be very keen to see if they throw Taroom under a severe thunderstorm warning, actually. Checking back in on the Taroom radar. Maybe, I doubt it. I'd be surprised if they did. Still some good wind gusts in and around the Ipswich area. Good winds still on the Gold Coast to be blowing about 50 k's an hour or so. But again, really nothing nuts. Decent. Very decent, that's for sure. Yeah, and just looking at this line here, this Clifton cell, well, I shouldn't really be calling it Clifton because it's now passing Clifton. This Gatton storm, yeah, it's going to move up north of Ipswich, probably even north of Marburg and Lowood up into the Ivanhoe area. It may throw Esk in the Samford Valley. Yeah, we do have a bit of a cell now developing north of Ipswich, but again, that should move north as well. Well, maybe not. We only have like 3 radar frames of this one here, so the fact... Yeah, but I don't think that's going to throw out thunder and lightning. If it does, it'll be very, very brief. It's still interesting to watch because it's very similar to not last Thursday, but Thursday before when we were last doing live coverage, watching these thunderstorms develop, and we just had, once the risk was done, a convective bubble bath situation through southeast Queensland, multiple cells developing through the southeast. It was rather annoying, actually. Surely we get a updated storm risk now. Kilcoy, let's have a look. Kilcoy up here. Yeah, that's a good guess, actually. I'm going to say about 1.5 hours for Kilcoy. And I don't think it's going to be serious at all. It's likely to just be a couple of drops done and dusted after a couple of drops. Really nothing crazy at all. If you haven't already, consider leaving a like on the stream and also subscribe to the channel as well. Be much appreciated. all the support lately has been massively appreciated, of course, but if you haven't already, consider subscribing. No tornadoes at all. We did have a couple of suspect areas across the border ranges, but yeah, I really didn't think much of them, and they didn't drop tornadoes. No confirmed tornadoes, and I don't really think we're going to be looking at a confirmed tornado outbreak at all. Lightly raining at Burleigh, thunder every now and then. Planes coming back in. I imagine a lot of planes would have been thrown in a holding pattern, that's for sure. Yeah, I mean, if that Gatton cell does get itself going... Oh no, this is a Gatton cell here, but this Marburg cell, if that gets itself going, that could roll into Brisbane. I'm not overly keen on that right now. I do want to see one more radar frame, though. Calm before the storm in Gatton, yeah. Definitely calm before the storm with this cell here. It's throwing out an awful lot of lightning. So Ipswich, look towards your west-southwest. This storm here should miss the Ipswich area. And again, it's throwing out lightning towards its north. That may actually hit Gatton. That'd be a weird track for this one to go, but this might actually hit Gatton. Especially if we're getting the reports that it is calm in the Gatton area. That does give me a little bit of confidence saying that this might actually roll through Gatton. Feature to watch, that's for sure. Thank you very, very much for all of the kind words as well coming through in the stream. Still a few storms bubbling away here and there around Boonah and Bow Desert. Bit of heavier rainfall now around the Ormeau area. Actually, at the Logan River mouth, that's going to move into the Russell Island and Lamb Island area. Rainfall is a little bit on the heavier side. We're still talking about pretty modest falls at best. Right, so we're due an update now. Apparently not. Weaken off a little bit. Our Rosewood cell is fired up a little bit more. So expect some strong winds around Ipswich. To be honest, this one here might actually be rolling down south of Ipswich. May eventually be a Greenbank and a Jimboomba type situation, but I wouldn't really be betting the farm on this at this point in time. We'll clip Ipswich though. We've got some strong wind gusts around the Rosewood area. In one or two spots, likely approaching 50 to 60 k's an hour. Heavy rainfall, but nothing too crazy. Bureau updated. Oh, they have actually worn that Clifton cell. Why do they have that heading in that direction, though? Interesting. Let's analyse that. From what I can ascertain is that this Clifton cell is rolling off in this direction here, which does throw Ipswich into the firing line, but the strongest side of this storm will either weaken or move just towards the north of Ipswich. And considering the fact that the convective forecast modelling, which I said has been extremely accurate today, suggests that this storm will roll north of Ipswich, gives me confidence in that. Severe storm warning in Harrisville. Yes, this is a severe thunderstorm out here, this cell here, just south of Gatton, and this is going to roll through the Ipswich or into the Ipswich region. Bit difficult to say. We need a couple more radar frames to say for sure whether or not Ipswich is in the firing line right now. But yes, you're right. We definitely need another radar frame. Steady rain in Bow Desert. And then that Toowoomba cell now moving up towards Highfields. That's going to roll in towards Crow's Nest and then eventually Esk. A couple of stronger cells embedded in that one, but the fact that the lightning is really dropping off in that is telling me that that is a weakening storm. Actually, we forgot to read what this is for. Damaging wind gusts and heavy rainfall. Brisbane's still not under a severe thunderstorm risk, and Bomb confident that that storm is going to cark it in about 30 minutes or so before it actually makes it to Ipswich. If that's actually true, that holds a little bit of weight to it, because a lot of these thunderstorms have been pulsy in nature, which is what we typically see with squall lines. They are pulsy, which means they blow up and then collapse in on themselves as quick as they develop, basically. If that's happening, then Ipswich is really not under a significant risk at all. They're really not under significant risk, and compared to the severe thunderstorm warning, it's likely to be closer to a nothing burger into the Ipswich area. So yeah, not a major concern there. And just rolling this back a few frames. It appeared to be stronger about 4 or 5 radar frames ago, but now it's beginning to upscale a little bit more and get a little bit weaker. So not much of a risk. But I would still like to say those south of Gatton down to Townsend, and this includes Laidley and Mulgoey, you do have a severe thunderstorm warning in your area. It's a strong one. It's not a crazy one, but it is a strong one, and it's a good idea to remain vigilant and on top of the radar imagery as these thunderstorms roll on through. Not a major concern though. Not a major concern. Wind has died in Gatton. There's a little bit of rain around as well. Yeah, Gatton's about to get a good amount of rainfall, probably about 5 to 15 millimetres in about 10 minutes or so. Even that Ipswich cell's weakened off in the latest radar frame. Not a major concern there. Still one to watch, one to keep on the back of our head. Logan is starting to get some good winds. Yes, I can imagine it is. We've got some good thunderstorms just to the south of Logan. Oh. HSV, that sounds like an absolute mint setup. You enjoy, mate. Storm come up to Cooroy. Whereabouts is Cooroy actually? Is that on the Sunshine Coast? If it is, it's likely to be pretty insignificant up there. If it's sirens in Ipswich, you'd think it'd be police. Clifton Cell looks to be quite wild. Yeah, let's actually look at the Marburg radar, see what's going on there. Marburg radar doesn't really have a good view of it. Toowoomba radar would probably have a pretty good view. Yeah, Sunshine Coast, it's not going to be anything tonight. Really quite weak. So this is probably... I'm going to use that very, very weakly, as you probably heard from the tone of my voice, but this is really... It's similar in intensity to the Gold Coast storm that we were tracking about an hour ago, but in terms of how widespread and how expansive it is, it's not anywhere close. So as severe, but a lot shorter and sharper of an impact. So not much of a concern, no, not for Ipswich. I'd be surprised if this storm became a concern for the Ipswich area. Still some good rainfall in it as well. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw 15 millimetres fall quite quickly from this one. Bomb have labelled it as severe. It's nothing too crazy. You can see on the radar imagery it's not really that significant. Warwick has surpassed 50 mil, and I believe that's the first location in southeast Queensland to surpass 50 mil today. Yes, on the Queensland side of things it is. Much better rainfall accumulations through northern New South Wales though. Harrison's Road has had 52, Warwick has had 45 on this map here. Righto. I don't know how I just paused the chat. Okay, let's have a quick look at what's going on here. Logan just getting a bit of wind, not that bad. That's the story across much of southeastern Queensland. It's just a bit of wind right now. A bit of rain, bit of wind. Nothing crazy. Risk is over for Warwick. Risk is pretty much all done and dusted for Toowoomba. The severe risk for Brisbane is minimal. It's not done, but it is minimal for Brisbane. Yeah, north side of Brisbane is going to get whatever comes of that Clifton cell. Well, I should start calling it the Gatton cell because it's not anywhere near Clifton anymore. But I don't expect anything too crazy. I'll keep going for a little bit longer. Why not get out to about 10 o'clock or something? Basically, as long as my voice can last, which is not going to be too much longer. But we're going to keep on bringing the live coverage throughout the duration of these severe thunderstorms. I don't think this is going to be much of a concern, though, for Ipswich, even this thunderstorm here. 27 and 84% humidity at Mount Crosby. What are our dew points? That would be resulting in some pretty significant dew points, actually. So let's go and have a look. 18.3, 17.7. Wow, our dew points are actually falling off a cliff here. 20 in Brisbane is pretty good. That will support a severe thunderstorm, particularly on a night like tonight. 21 here at Cape Morton. Warwick's low, but yeah, still borderline supportive of severe thunderstorms. Really not that favourable, but yeah, borderline supportive. Brisbane Airport 21, Brisbane at 20.4. So very muggy in Brisbane and the Brisbane Airport. And I imagine that goes for a couple of the suburbs as well. I don't know, I'm not going to discount, just looking at those numbers, I'm not going to discount Brisbane and the Brisbane suburbs just yet. Well, thank you very much for the donation. Yeah, get the washing in right now. Not for your location up in Kilcoy. Not at all. No hail. And if it... I mean, I shouldn't be saying this because it's not going to hail, but if it does hail, it's 1 centimetre tops. Absolute maximum. Is that your HSV as well in your profile pic, mate? Thank you, Michelle. So the only cell that's really getting itself going is the Gatton one here that's moving up towards Lowood. We've got enough radar imagery now to kind of ascertain its movement, which is sort of between these black lines. If it does get into... Yeah, if it does get into Ipswich, it's going to be about 45 minutes from now, so it will likely be weaker, but it's still got a bit of a punch right now. Yeah, those W1s go for, I think it's about 350 grand or something now. Blake, thank you very much. Have a good sleep. We're not going to sleep just yet. No, mate, thank you so much. Nobody's obliged to donate at all. So everyone that has, I really, really do appreciate it. And it just goes to improving the quality of these streams, bumping the computer up, bumping the microphone, audio quality, all of that sort of stuff. So I really appreciate everyone that's sending through stuff. It's about 3,000 people without power now. That's good to hear. That's not anywhere near as much as I initially expected, to be honest, from tonight's outbreak. Maybe because I've just gotten really excited from these storms, but yeah, these thunderstorms have been, I guess they've kind of matched expectations, to be honest. Especially on the Gold Coast, they've almost exceeded these expectations. Oh, geez, wow. Nah, rain will be done and dusted by midnight. For the Gold Coast, probably done and dusted closer to 10:30, 11 o'clock or so. Yeah, this Clifton cell's still one to watch. All of our storms now moving outside of Toowoomba are beginning to get their teeth knocked out. This line is also not very strong, moving between Dalby up to Chinchilla on the Warrego Highway. That's about to cross over and then up towards Kingaroy. It'll be a lot weaker by the time it gets up there. Yeah, really not a concern now. Toowoomba is about to be in the all clear. And it's really only this Gatton cell that's throwing out incredible lightning right now. The rest of these storms are very weak on the lightning side of things. 70 mil in Killarney, wow. And I believe that too, they've had a lot of rainfall down there. Oh yeah, December is peak storm season. Oh, the mighty Barra. I'm a bit more of a Barra man, not so much an LS, but well, now I've got a boss, not a Barra, but those Barras are indestructible. Gatton lightning is brutal, yeah. What's it like actually in Gatton? It would be very, very loud. I mean, this is like the thunderstorms we saw a couple of hours ago on the Gold Coast. Extremely lightning dominant, lots and lots of lightning. And at one point outside of Tweed Heads, we had some almost constant bang, bang, bang flashes. So lots and lots of lightning activity down there, and it's pretty similar around Gatton, all things considered. It also looks like Killarney's beginning to wind down. I mean, we've just had that 70 mil rainfall report outside of Killarney. Things are really winding down there. We've still got a few storms around Boonah and Beaudesert. Albert, thank you very, very much. Weak thunderstorms, lower Sunshine Coast. Yes, there is good potential for weak thunderstorms in the lower Sunshine Coast, but not very strong. Not at all very strong. Hear the thunder and see the lightning from the Gatton cell. I imagine it would be pretty loud, that's for sure. Boonah at 40 mil. Generally above 80 mil, we start to see a bit of flash flooding around the Boonah area, and I believe that they're going to get quite close, particularly if it keeps raining there for another 30 minutes or so, which it looks like it's going to. Lately getting it, lots of lightning. Sure would be. Yeah, it really does look like that cell outside of Ipswich is beginning to ramp up a little bit more. It's got some strong winds. Pushing into Laidley right now, really strong winds actually. Well, we just talked about it for Brisbane. Those dew points are really, really strong in the Brisbane area. We're still looking at dew points around 20 to 21 degrees, and as we discussed at the start of the stream, anything above 20 is conducive, not favourable, but conducive for severe thunderstorms. So the fact that we've still got those high-ish dew points suggests that we may see a couple of strong thunderstorms throughout the course of tonight. I wouldn't really be betting the farm on it though, because it is just a borderline case. Geez, Stevie, what a collection, mate. You could almost pay off the national debt with that. Breezes picked up in Brisbane North. Good to hear, because it is quite a hot one. It's a stinker with those humidity values. Yeah, still some strong winds around the Gold Coast. That rainfall's beginning to ease off now as well. A little bit. It's not going to ease off fully for at least another hour or so, I'd say. Still a bit of rainfall along the border ranges. And then, of course, we've got our Gatton cell, which is actually beginning to join up with our Crow's Nest one. That's got a little bit of a punch as well. South Brisbane, yeah, not that much, to be honest. Bit of rainfall, bit of lightning. Really not that much. Dew points on the backside of these storms will drop down into the teens. So for Toowoomba, it'd be back down into like 16 or 17 or so. And Warwick at 16 right now, which is not favourable at all for severe thunderstorm activity. Yeah, 51 mil at Warwick, dew point at 16.5, 17 at Gatton, which is really healthy for, well, really interesting considering the fact that they've got a pretty good severe thunderstorm there. That's not a healthy dew point for a thunderstorm like that. Heavy rainfall being the major threat right now. Yeah, I didn't actually pull up the Brisbane live stream before I started streaming, unfortunately. Yeah, there would be a pretty impressive shelf cloud. Actually, I can pull it up on the second screen and have a look at it on the Brisbane Weather Live. But yeah, still a lot of rainfall. That Clifton cell is throwing out some half-decent rainfall accumulations. It's definitely a feature that we want to be keeping tabs on. Alright, there we go. So Brisbane Weather Live. Yeah, somewhat decent, but nothing too crazy. It's nowhere near as impressive as what we've been seeing recently through southeast Queensland, that's for sure. Lighting up in the Red Bank Plains, that is great to hear. Still holding intensity, this Gatton cell. Yeah, still holding on quite nicely. It is marginally weaker than what it was before. That storm that we were noting around the Ipswich area has now moved south of Ipswich and is really not much of a concern. That's going to combine up with this convective mess down here into the scenic rim. This is a good cell though. Ipswich, keep an eye on this situation. Oh, I haven't looked ahead, to be honest. I have not looked ahead for our storms as we get up towards next weekend. This weekend, those played out exactly as expected. Particularly over the last couple of days, we knew we'd get some strong stuff in the extreme northeast of New South Wales and southeastern Queensland. We got it, and today's forecast was a home run, more or less. But for Brisbane, this is going to be pretty weak. This is going to be quite disappointing for those that are expecting severe thunderstorms in Brisbane. Yeah, we're likely to get another high-end day. I mean, that's just the situation in southeast Queensland at this time of the year. Yeah, it'd be good if we get a power outage update, actually. Be keen to see what we're dealing with. Yeah, still pretty solid, this one. See if we can get that loop going through. It's kind of upscaling, though. It's really upscaled from where it was just a few moments ago. As it moves up into Laidley. Those winds have also really calmed down. Laidley is probably only looking at about 60 k's an hour or so. Actually, if we have anyone in the Laidley area, let us know how strong those winds are. Still some good lightning in this one. This site is called Radar Scope. It's basically just a high-end radar monitoring website. Bit of good lightning still moving up in towards the Gatton area. 75k gusts in Laidley, right. Really not that much. Few good strikes around the Lowood area, but again, with these storms now tracking up, I can say pretty confidently that they're going to miss the Ipswich area, which is good news indeed. This isn't a supercell. Conditions are just not conducive for supercell thunderstorms outside of Brisbane today. Not at all. Blowing a gale. This is heading north up to Lowood, skimming the northern areas of Ipswich. Still a good storm or two now pushing up into the Wivenhoe. Outlook here around Crow's Nest. But yeah, Brisbane really is not going to see much of this. Still a few strong cells in here that are moving around the scenic rim. They're very slow moving, and the rainfall is going to be pretty heavy for the time being. Great strikes in Ipswich. Yeah, I can imagine. Power outage update. Burleigh Heads, Advanced Turn, Gliston, Springbrook, Parkwood, Oxenford, Rathdowney, Running Creek and adjacent suburbs. All out of power with repair times in the next hour and a half or so. Boona's at 45 mil. A bit more rain coming down in the Boona area. I imagine they're going to get close to 70 mil or so. Not that bad. Lots of CG lightning in Laidley. Yeah, there's something forming in Ipswich, but that's sliding down into this convective mess around the Boona area. So really not a concern for Ipswich, that one that's forming on top of them right now. Bit of lightning in that one. Lots of lightning in this cell here that's curling around the Gatton area. And as that pushes up into the Wivenhoe outlook, we're going to see a lot of lightning up there. Swirly mess. Toowoomba radar should give us a better idea of what the winds are in it. Strong but not crazy. Yeah, 70 k's an hour. Maybe getting close to 80 in a few spots. Nothing crazy though. Nothing crazy. All quiet on the Gold Coast. A bit of a surge later is possible, but by the time these storms make it up to the Gold Coast, they're going to be a lot weaker. And actually, if we have a look at our Brisbane radar right now, yeah, maybe a bit of a storm in about an hour or so on the Gold Coast, but I really don't expect it to be too strong at all. Good lightning in the Labrador area, righto. Storms in Ipswich, yet just outside of Ipswich. No, so there is a bit of lightning around the Gold Coast area, righto. Good to know. Good to know. We'll have to keep close tabs on this situation at the Gatton one. It's still ramping up a little bit. Ramping up is a bit of a stretch, but it's still going, and it's still going at a similar intensity. Rain and distant flashes in Redbank, righto. Northern suburbs of Brisbane will be pretty hard pressed to get a thunderstorm tonight. Maybe a few rumbles, but in terms of a proper thunderstorm, they'll be pretty hard pressed. So ramping up in Ormeau. Must be seeing this cell here begin to escalate. Bit of lightning around here. They're just outside of Beenleigh. Still looks like things are winding back a little bit. Just looking at the precipitation, the colours are getting weaker and weaker on the reflectivity. And this is at the start of the radar loop here about half an hour ago. This is now a lot weaker. Winds as well are a lot weaker as well. So that's a surprise that things are ramping up a little bit on the Gold Coast, because things should be getting weaker. Yeah, full moon. That's why the sky's so bright. That's a great pick up there. Yeah, nice little cell around the Gatton area. Do we have any reports from Gatton actually in terms of what we've seen there? When's Bomb's next update on this one? 9:50. They reckon the storm will be carked it by 9:50. Oh, so that's in 4 minutes. Righto. Let's go and have a look at our radar imagery. What did we get wind-wise? 56, 61 kilometres an hour. Yeah, right. That's really not much of a thunderstorm, particularly at this time of the year. Wow. And it looks like the rain is just going to continue steady in the Gold Coast for the foreseeable future. for at least another half an hour or so before it finally begins to weaken off a little bit. But yeah, nothing too crazy. Tuesday night, honestly, I have not looked ahead on our thunderstorm forecast. I've been so focused on this week's storms. If we do go out towards Tuesday, well, there will be a few thunderstorms here and there, but it looks like it's a similar setup to Monday. There's a little bit of instability in the atmosphere, but in terms of everything else through southeast Queensland, oh man, even tomorrow just does not look good for thunderstorms. Tuesday doesn't look really good for thunderstorms at all. Wednesday, nothing. Thursday, nothing. Friday, nothing. Saturday, the 13th, it looks like storms may return. Sunday could be a good day next weekend. Maybe next weekend's our next thunderstorm chance through southeast Queensland. But yeah, this week looks to be really, really quiet on the thunderstorm front through southeast Queensland, which is good. We need this break. It's good to see 2 weeks of calmer conditions. Strong wind and rain, yeah. It's good to hear that we're not seeing aggressive wording coming out from here, from these thunderstorms. It's good because it means that they are a little bit weaker. Very windy in Gatton and Bucketing Downs, so the observations mustn't be too crazy. So 13th is a weak chance of thunderstorms. 14th is a stronger chance of thunderstorms. Not really. Honestly, next weekend's an even lower chance of storms than we had this weekend. Oh, I mean, we need to be using that quite loosely. Nah, it doesn't look like we're going to see much this week. There's a chance tomorrow, and there's an even weaker chance on Tuesday, but by chance, I mean really, really not favourable. I wouldn't be getting my hopes up for anything of note this week. I can put it that way. Oh, we should actually have an update from BOM now. Severe thunderstorm warning, 9:46 PM at Laidley. Damaging wind gusts and heavy rainfall will track towards the north of Ipswich as we expected. Very slow moving storm, which means that this is not going to make it to Brisbane as a severe thunderstorm in the next hour, and by extension, highly unlikely to make it into Brisbane full stop. I'm telling you, the move to Queensland is on the cards. It's being seriously considered. I'm really appreciating the car chat, actually. Little side passion of mine. 2 centimetre hail in Gatton. I find that hard to believe considering the reflectivity that we're seeing. We might have had a 2 centimetre stone, but in terms of widespread 2 centimetre hail, I really do doubt that. There's quite a good amount of rainfall in this thunderstorm cluster right now. Yeah, there's still some good rainfall, but nothing too crazy in here. It's not ramping up, but it's also not ramping down, if that makes sense. It's kind of just on its own, on its way, you know. Yeah, a lot of people want this wind to keep on going. I don't blame them because it is a hot one through southeast Queensland. Really not seeing anything that screams out power here for these thunderstorms. 1050 horsepower, that's preposterous, mate. I think mine pushed 400 or something. Oh, Albert, I can't answer that. I'll alienate half of my viewers. I don't know if you can tell based off how I've been talking this stream. I'll leave it up to the fans to decide. Oh yeah, all better from being sick, yeah. The latest radar loop from this Gatton cell, it's really not impressive. It also appears to be winding down now. Precipitation is beginning to drop off as well. Winds are still quite strong. We've definitely got these 70k wind gusts in this storm. And the one towards its north as well, up around the Esk area, that's pushing rapidly up towards Kilcoy, that also has a bit of a punch to it, but nothing crazy at all. I believe we're probably looking at Kilcoy seeing a thunderstorm in about 45 minutes or so. But only thunderstorm, I mean, really not much in the way of serious potential up in Kilcoy. Bit of rainfall, bit of wind. Stock standard upscaled late night stuff by 11 o'clock rather in Kilcoy. Esk in about 20 minutes. It's probably about to get quite windy in Esk as well. So if you are in Esk or around Esk, Wivenhoe outlook, yeah, keep an eye on the situation. And it does look like a little bit of rainfall is about to develop into the Brisbane area, and it's going to be a similar situation to what we've seen in the Logan area, just a bit of rainfall, maybe a crack or two of thunder and lightning. Yeah, these storms are pretty weak. That is actually a good point. There's no such thing as Ford or Holden better than one another. They're both excellent, and it's just personal preference. Mount Crosby, small wind, no rain, no thunder. You can see the lightning as you look towards the Gold Coast. I imagine if you looked out towards the west as well, you'd have a pretty good view of the lightning. No, it's not going to get worse. I don't think there's going to be anywhere that gets worse than what it is currently right now tonight. There are some areas that are going to cop some heavy rainfall and some downpours and some strong wind gusts, but I really don't think it's going to get any worse than what it is right now for a wide swathe of locations. Rain just started in Rockley, a little bit of thunder. Righto. No, not to my knowledge, out around the Gatton area, and it's too dark now to be able to see anything. I should have pulled up the Brisbane live webcam before. In fact, I can have a look at it right now. It looks okay. I mean, there's a bit of a shelf cloud. Yeah, really nothing too crazy on that one. No, definitely not getting worse. Definitely not getting worse right now. And even this Ipswich cell here out towards the west of Ipswich is getting a lot weaker. It's mainly just a bit of heavy rainfall. It's like what the northern areas of the Gold Coast got. So if anyone in the northern areas of the Gold Coast can help out those west of Ipswich and let us know what they got. But I really don't think this is too much out here. This is not a major thunderstorm risk. It's barely a severe thunderstorm anymore. There's a bit of severe stuff up here around the Crow's Nest and Esk area. Mainly for winds, but also for a little bit of rainfall. But again, really not much. Josh and Higgins, best in Australia for weather. I like the sound of that. There's a lot of pages out there that do excellent weather reporting as well. There's a lot of great people out there in the Australian weather scene. Yeah, this is great for the cricket. Big thunderclaps at the Andrew Lawson check area. A lot of lightning still. All of that lightning around the border ranges has dropped off as well. And through the scenic rim, there are a few strikes here and there around Beaudesert and Jimboomba, but really not much. And still that Gatton cell throwing out some decent lightning as well. Few strikes around the Gold Coast, actually. It looks like some of these storms are continuing to drop some good lightning strikes. I think we've been live for about 2 hours now. Not that long. Oh, 3.5 hours. Whoops. Griffin. Is Griffin northern suburbs? It's not going to be much by the time it gets there, that's for sure. I can tell you that right now. Really not going to be much. Oh, Lawson Creek. Not sure. And we'll wrap this up. Yeah, cricket's all done. The Australian, or the Aussies mopped the floor with the Poms. Great to see. 2 for 2. Yeah, there's going to be some rain. Brisbane's going to see some rain. I can assure you guys are going to get some rain. As these thunderstorms roll on through, we're going to see good rainfall in these areas here. But the severe thunderstorm risk, very, very minimal through the Brisbane region. And this also includes the northern suburbs up to Caboolture and Redcliffe, Deception Bay, Bribie Island, Sunshine Coast by extension as well. No real risk for severe thunderstorms. There is a bit of a severe storm here around the Esk area. Looks like that's going to slide between Esk and Kilcoy, but by the time it gets to about Kilcoy, it's likely to drop below severe thresholds. And in all honesty, I really don't think that there is any concern now for the Brisbane area on a severe thunderstorm standpoint. It would take a lot to get a severe thunderstorm off the ground, and we can actually check back in on our dew points in the Brisbane region. That's what we want. Below 20. That basically eliminates our severe thunderstorm risk. Yep, all below 20 now. Severe thunderstorm risk in Brisbane, done and dusted. Gatton, strongest wind gust, 61 kilometres an hour, really not that strong at all. Yeah, this is done and dusted. Good, really, really good. Lockyer Waters, lots of lightning and wind. Sunnybank, minimal risk. So going forward, what this is going to be tonight is just a bit of rain and wind, a few cracks, not going to be severe, bit of thunder, bit of lightning, you know. Maybe some small hailstones as well, but I really don't think that this is going to be too much in the way of severe stuff. It's not going to be strong, put it that way. So limited risk going forward. This is not anything to be overly concerned about right now. Of course, any questions, let me know in the chat sooner rather than later, because I think I am about to pack it in here. Any final questions, just let me know. But yeah, it's been a good 3-ish hours of live coverage. If you have enjoyed it, then please do let me know in the chat. But I think that because this risk is pretty much done and dusted, we'll see a few more lightning strikes here and there, and this severe thunderstorm is going to rumble on a little bit longer around the Lowood, up towards Wivenhoe and Esk area. But yeah, for now, a pretty minimal risk. Hervey Bay, as we've mentioned a couple of hours ago, really minimal risk of a thunderstorm full stop. Maybe a few distant rumbles around 2 o'clock in the morning, but yeah, nothing at all for Hervey Bay. Really nothing at all. And none of our forecast models are suggesting anything for Hervey Bay either. You can see actually over the next hour or so, these storms are really going to wind back. Yeah, in about an hour or so, these are going to really wind back. Yes, I do need to start chasing. But there's nothing to chase in Western Australia, unfortunately. But no, thank you very much for joining me for this 3 and a bit hours of live coverage. Again, very much appreciative to all of the donations and all of the support. I really am grateful for it. And all of the new subscribers as well, welcome aboard. Everyone that has liked and shared the stream as well, welcome. Thank you very much for your kind support. I'll be back tomorrow with severe thunderstorm and tropical cyclone coverage every day. And we're going to be planning some interesting videos as well going forward as well. So make sure you are sticking around for that. And just a bit of a spoiler alert for all of you watching right now, merchandise coming soon. That's all I will say for now. Thank you very, very much for joining me. That is going to be all for me today. I will catch you all in the next storm. Goodbye.